Every morning, thousands of stories begin. Before the lessons, before the bell rings, before a student believes they can, they need someone who believes in them.
I wanted a profession where my experience makes a difference.
I wanted to create lasting opportunities for students.
I wanted to help students find their voice.
I wanted students to know someone believes in them.
Every role matters. Every moment counts. Every day is filled with possibilities. If you're ready to make a difference, more opportunities start here.
Hi, I'm Karen Perez, Chair of Hillsborough County School Board. I want to welcome you to Hillsborough County Public Schools, a donde servimos más de 200,000 de tus estudiantes. That includes children in preschool and adults through our workforce program.
I'm Nadia Combs, the school board's vice chair. Our district is the 7th largest in America, and our team is made up of 24,000 people working at close to 250 sites across the county.
Our district is diverse and dedicated. Our board meetings are held in our board auditorium on select Tuesdays at 4 p.m. The best way to serve our students and our community is to involve you, the public, in what we do.
You are welcome to meet or email any of our board members and follow our district on social media. School board meetings are covered live by Hillsborough Schools TV on Spectrum 635 and Frontier Channel 32.
Meetings are also streamed live on our website at hillsboroughschools.org. Closed captioning is provided on all broadcasts, and past meetings are available in our online archive.
We are interested in what the public has to say. We'll include time for audience comments before we address our business items. Our agenda and any supporting materials can be viewed online in advance. They are posted 7 days before each meeting on our website at hillsboroughschools.org.
Our vision is preparing students for life, and that means all students every day. Thank you for your commitment to education. With your help, we're making decisions that shape our community's future.
The board meeting of July 28th is now called to order. Member Combs will now lead us in a moment of silence, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Chair Perez. Please join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. Now please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda. I have a motion by all members, Member Combs, and a second by Member Gray. Any discussion? Seeing none, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Let the record show that all board members are present. We have one set of minutes to approve today, July 14, 2026, school board meeting. I need a motion and a second to approve the minutes. I have a motion by Member Vaughn and a second by Member Gray. Any discussions? Seeing none, please vote when your lights appear. and it passes unanimously. Board members, I'd like to go over the format of today's meeting. As a reminder, we are a nonpartisan board who believe all children can be empowered to learn, to succeed, and our decisions will be made with that understanding. To pave the way for efficient agenda statements and questions, board members will have 5 minutes to speak with 30 seconds for final thoughts. Afterwards, the superintendent will respond. If you have further questions, you're asked to get back in the queue. Member Combs will now read the board guidelines.
As we begin this afternoon's meeting, please allow me to quickly review the format of our school board meetings. Please silence all electronic devices. There are speakers in the room behind me that allow board members to hear the meeting upon stepping away from the dais. This meeting can be viewed with closed captioning on live webcast, on cable TV, on video monitors here in the auditorium. It also can be viewed with closed captioning on the online video archive.
Thank you, Member Combs. We have 2 items scheduled for time certain. 5:01 p.m. First, public hearing on the millage rates and tentative budget for 2026-27 fiscal year, and 6 p.m. employee and student input. The board welcomes comments from citizens and values your input from the board. In order to provide the most comprehensive response to your comments, our staff will follow up with you and will keep our board informed about the responses. Our school board respects the public's right to speak to the board, and we appreciate you taking your time to be here. You have the right to speak to any issue you like, but you will not be interrupted. However, any behavior intended to interrupt the orderly conduct of this meeting will not be allowed. We do request that you try to focus on the issues. When addressing the board, please state your name and speak clearly into the microphone. This afternoon, each speaker will have 3 minutes. Reminder that your 3 minutes start when you begin speaking. When there are 30 seconds left, you will see a yellow light on the lectern and hear a chime. The red light and a chime will indicate that your time is up. I will now call up the first 5 speakers.
Thank you, members of the board. My name is Patrick Lewicki. I am an economics teacher at Hillsborough High School. I'm here not because of any issue that affects my pay directly, but an issue that affects the pay of my colleagues, namely the ESE supplement, which in negotiations has been rumored to be going the way of the dodo bird. And I find it so difficult for those colleagues. We're in a difficult fiscal position, obviously, not imposed by the board, but imposed by the state. It is not y'all's fault that we don't have enough money. But that being said, if we're cutting, why are we cutting pay to those who serve our most vulnerable populations? You know, for many of my colleagues, this amounts to a paycheck. This amounts to 8% of their annual salary. So my question is, if you're asking ESE teachers that are already barely getting by, as it is, to lose 8% of their paycheck, where is ROSAC willing to shrink its budget by 8%? It's one thing to cut during lean times. We're very much in lean times in the state of Florida. But it's hypocritical to cut pay for teachers of vulnerable populations without sacrificing anything downtown. If we have to cut 8% out of ESE teachers' paychecks, when is ROSAC getting an 8% cut to their paychecks? Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, and thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Laura Garcia, and I'm here once again on behalf of many families in Waterset and the surrounding Apollo Beach community to advocate for expanding Dobie Elementary from a K-5 to a K-8 school. We're here to remind you that we haven't gone away. Our community is still here, still growing, and still asking for the opportunity for our children to attend a quality neighborhood school through middle school. When 5th grade ends, many families are left scrambling to find a middle school where they feel their children will be challenged academically, supported, and safe. Too often that means looking outside our neighborhood, separating siblings, creating transportation challenges, and making it harder for parents to stay involved. Neighborhood schools strengthen communities. They allow children and families to build lasting relationships with teachers, classmates, and other parents over many years, rather than starting over after elementary school. We also recognize that strengthening our community requires investment in multiple areas. We urge the district to continue making those meaningful improvements at Eisenhower Middle School so families can feel confident and excited about sending their children to their zone school, while also continuing to explore opportunities to expand neighborhood middle school options for our growing community. Parents shouldn't have to choose between proximity and peace of mind. Every child deserves a school where they can feel challenged, supported, and safe. As our community continues to grow, we ask that this remain part of the district's long-term planning. The community is still here, waiting and wanting a solution, and with more than 1,000 signatures on our petition, it's clear this is not the concern of just a few families. It is a shared priority. Thank you for listening and for continuing to consider the needs of the families you serve.
Thank you. Will speaker number 6 also line up? Next speaker.
Good afternoon, esteemed board members, Superintendent Van Ayers. Good to see all of you again. I come here, Ryan Hazinski, the Ardent Blockchain Education Liaison, on behalf of our initiative with some outstanding news and some gratitude for the district. So last month, or 2 months ago, I think it was, earlier in the summer, we had our first professional development with Sarasota County Schools, and through good fortune, now finding out that Kelly Brennan is the superintendent of social studies. She was my lead mentor when I stepped out of the classroom to be a mentor for 1 year back in 2014-15. And so I reached out to her a year ago, told her what we were doing, and then we reconnected this summer, and I actually had our first in-person voluntary opportunity to teach teachers here in Hillsborough County about blockchain technology. There were 5 teachers, so I wanted to specifically call them out and express our gratitude for them coming during the summer when it's not professional study day and pre-planning hasn't started yet. So Elena Blevins, George Garner, Billy Helms, Brian Chevalier, and Paul Noble were the teachers that came from social studies, so I wanted to give them a personal shout out. And then also to advertise that we're going to be back at the Professional Study Day next Monday at Gaither High School. So for social studies teachers who happen to see this broadcast and you're interested in learning more about blockchain technology and how it fits into the financial literacy curriculum that's mandated by the state because of the Dorothy Huckel Financial Literacy Act, please join us, because last week what we did was we had our original professional development seminar called The Road to Bitcoin and Beyond, A Brief History of Digital Currency, which covers a number of standards. We have a whole standards crosswalk. All this is available on our website. Completely, this is company funded. There's no cost to the district. There's no cost to taxpayers. This is all just our way of giving back, especially because a number of us are Florida citizens. And then we also showcased a full 3-lesson module that covers one specific benchmark, SS 912 FL 6.14, which is evaluate the motives for using a digital currency. And all 3 of these lessons will be taught sequentially for the teachers next Monday. So we'll have 3 independent lessons. This is completely turnkey. Everything is there for the teachers. They don't have to even know anything. There's a script, there's lesson plans, there's decks, there's ESC accommodations, you name it, it's in there. We've thought of everything. And that was one thing Kelly was very glad to see. She's like, you clearly are teachers and you have teachers in mind when you've designed this whole thing. So I just wanted to come here and share my excitement, share my gratitude. I know I keep sending you our monthly updates month after month, and if you get a chance to read them, great. If not, I totally understand you're very busy, but I just wanted to come and say thank you to all of you and to Hillsborough County for welcoming us in and being part of this and helping the district grow.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good afternoon, board members, Superintendent Ayers, and staff. My name is Jim Fortenberry. Turkey Creek is one of the 3 or 4 oldest schools in Hillsborough County, and on its campus stands a historic 2-story building constructed in 1927. I first stood before the board to speak on behalf of the building in 1997 when classroom space was badly needed. In recent years, a proposal was made that would renovate Building 11 into a modern agricultural center with ag classrooms, labs, meeting space, and multipurpose areas. Schools educate students in a variety of subjects, but we cannot overemphasize the importance of agriculture. You and I enjoy the benefits of agriculture 3 times a day, every day. At present, the school's award-winning agricultural department operates out of an undersized, dilapidated structure on the north side of Connell Road, apart from the school's main campus. As school safety concerns continue to escalate, this proposal has the added benefit of keeping students on the main campus rather than isolating them. Just closing this school safety loophole would, in and of itself, justify renovating Building 11. In 2025, it was asked whether there was any support for the project. There was tremendous support. 20 farms, businesses, county and state organizations responded with letters of support, including Wilton Simpson, the Florida Commissioner of Agriculture. These letters were provided enthusiastically, often with the accompanying response of, "This is definitely the right thing to do," or, "Oh yeah, this is a no-brainer." It is almost a certainty that there is not another project on the school board landscape with more prominent support than this one. Let me speak briefly to the financial part of this to provide some perspective. In 1997, the school board budget was $1.24 billion. In 2026, the budget is $4.3 billion. And if we average that out from then to now, the average annual budget has been $2.77 billion. After 30 years and $80 billion, plus all of the support, this is no project to be relegated to a spot on some nebulous 5-year plan. This project belongs on a 5-week plan. This is a win-win proposal to be fast-tracked and shepherded to a speedy and successful completion. The reasons are numerous. The logic is irrefutable. The cost is low. Its causes are worthy. You are the ones who have been chosen and elected to make this a reality, and now is the acceptable time. On behalf of the students, the school, and the agricultural community, I thank you in advance for your unanimous support and your resolute commitment toward the speedy completion of this commitment to the agricultural education of our future farmers.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon, members of the board, Superintendent Van Ayers. I'm Michelle Williamson, for the record, and I here too am to speak on the Turkey Creek building. I'm not sure how well I will do after following Jim, but the restoration of this Strawberry School is not about preserving a building for nostalgia's sake. It's about preserving a purpose. This school was built to serve an agricultural community and to prepare students for the workforce of its time. Today, agriculture remains one of the 3 pillars of Florida's economy, contributing over $130 billion annually. It is a rapidly evolving through science, technology, and artificial intelligence. Hillsborough County Public Schools are already leading in this space. I noticed that you guys have on your agenda later in today to vote to continue a contract with AEST. So you guys are already looking forward to workforce readiness in agriculture. Programs like the state and nationally recognized program at Turkey Creek Middle Schools show how early hands-on agri-science education engages students and prepares them for high-demand career pathways. Restoring the Strawberry School allows us to connect our history to our future. It strengthens workforce alignment, supports experiential learning, and demonstrates responsible stewardship of a facility that still has educational value today. We respectfully request that you place the restorations and upgrades of the 1927 Frank Wynn historically designated building at Turkey Creek Middle School on the facilities plan. This restoration reflects who we are as a district, committed to our students, our community, and the future workforce of Hillsborough County. And Mr. Washington, I know you have a history at that school because you taught there when I went to school there. So thank you very much for your attention this evening.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Good afternoon. Thank you for the opportunity. My name is Oleg Martins. I'm a resident of District 4, and I'm here today to discuss the recent changes to the dress code. The dress code changes took us by surprise. We learned about it last week. Perhaps you put them out a while ago, but that's when we and many other parents found out about it. I can't say that I understand the changes. I can't say that I agree with the changes. I think they discriminate against girls, particularly the changes to the leggings policy. In fact, our girls have been in the school system since kindergarten, right? I now have a high schooler and a middle schooler. Not once do I recall there's been ever any problem with leggings in school for them or any of their friends. Many young ladies here in Florida find it a convenient garment that allows them to deal with the heat and the humidity, and that allows them to still be respectful in the school system. We're not alone to feel this way. We started a petition on change.org last week, and I think we're just about reaching 2,000 signatures. If you're interested, I'm happy to share the link to the petition, and I encourage you to go read some of the comments by some of the families who feel affected by this. Going ahead, I'd like to ask two things of this board, if possible. The first is we'd like to better understand as a community what motivated the changes. What data was used, what peer-reviewed studies, what empirical data was used. I've done a little bit of research online. I'm finding no conclusive evidence that indicates that restricting what young women can wear at school reduces distractions or improves the learning experience. And secondly, I'd like the rules to be rescinded, if at all possible. And if that's not possible right now, if a moratorium could be put on those changes until we've had a chance to discuss as a community. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Good evening, Chair, board members, and Superintendent Ayers. My name is Ana Alonso, and I'm a school psychologist with Hillsborough County Public Schools. First, I want to thank you for the progress made during recent negotiations. The proposal for a dedicated salary schedule for school psychologists is an encouraging step, and I appreciate your recognition of the recruitment and retention challenges that our profession faces. I ask that you recognize the ongoing shortage of school psychologists by providing compensation that helps attract and retain highly qualified professionals. Every day, we conduct evaluations required under federal law, support all students, including HCPS, private school, homeschool, and charter school students who are experiencing mental health and behavioral challenges, consult with teachers and families, respond to crises, and help ensure students receive the services that they need to be successful. It is meaningful, specialized work that directly impacts some of our district's most vulnerable students. Like many departments, we continue to experience vacancies. When positions remain unfilled, the work doesn't disappear. The remaining school psychologists take on additional schools, larger caseloads, and more responsibilities to ensure students continue receiving timely services. While we remain committed to our students, this is not a sustainable long-term solution. A critical shortage supplement and or a competitive pay scale relative to the educational marketplace is more than additional compensation. It is an investment in recruiting and retaining highly qualified school psychologists. It helps our district remain competitive with neighboring districts and demonstrates that Hillsborough values the professionals that provide these essential services. Finally, I ask that you consider maintaining the ESE supplement for all student support services personnel as previously proposed by another employee. Thank you for recognizing the importance of our work and for the progress that has already been made. I respectfully ask for your continued support as negotiations continue so that we can build and maintain the strong workforce our students deserve. Thank you for your time and your commitment to the students and families of Hillsborough County.
Thank you. Seeing no further comments, we will now move on to the consent agenda. I need a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Hahn. Please vote when your lights appear.
Oh, you say that because you already lost.
And the consent agenda has been approved. I will now call on Superintendent Ayers to highlight the administrative appointments.
Thank you, Madam Chair and board members. We did have three principal appointments that were on the consent agenda that was just approved, so I'd like to take a moment to go through those three. And the first one, if we get our PowerPoint up, get our picture up there, we're going to start with you, Nicole. Nicole Hildebrand, the new principal, Bull Run Middle School. If you could please stand up, please. So Just a little bit about Nicole. She began her career with Hillsborough County Public Schools teaching math at Coleman Middle School in 2002. She went on to teach math at Shields and Barrington Middle Schools between 2004 to 2015. 2015, Ms. Hildebrand served as math resource teacher at Monroe Middle School. She then transferred to Riverview High School in 2018 to once again teach math. I told her yesterday in an interview, we don't have many math teachers that move on to become assistant principals and principals, so I know one here, Ms. Shotwell. And Ms. Shotwell was her principal for the 1 year over at Riverview. And then in 2019, Ms. Hildebrand was appointed assistant principal at Progress Village Middle School, where she's currently serving. And I will tell you, as we talked beforehand, she's a little sad to be leaving PV and all the relationships there, but we are very excited to announce her as the new principal of Morenon Middle School, Nicole Hildebrand. Stand up again. And any family and friends, I see Pete McGarrett at PV, you're there. Family and friends that are with her as well, please stand up.
Hey.
Nicole's got to hit the ground running. Teachers show up Friday, so we get to work soon. No planning time. So that was our first appointment, and then we also have, if we could pull it back up, the new principal of North Tampa Success Center, and that's Dr. Glenn Bramlett. Glenn, if you could stand up.
Where's he coming from?
So Dr. Bramlett began his career with HCPS in 1999, teaching social studies at Robinson High School. 2005, he was appointed AP at Middleton High School. Then from 2006 to 2022, he served as assistant principal at Spoto and Plant High Schools, Junta and Memorial Middle Schools, and then moved on to Brandon Success Center and Lavoie Exceptional Center. In 2023, Dr. Bramlett was appointed the AP at North Tampa Success Center, where he's currently serving. Till today, Dr. Bramlett, our new principal of North Tampa Success Center. Dr. Bramlett, congratulations. And any family and friends that are there as well, please stand up.
Yay.
All right. Dr. Bramlett, congratulations. And we have one more principal appointment, and that is, you see your picture, that is Beth Silva, the new principal at Dorothy Thomas Exceptional Center. Beth, where you at? Stand up. So as we talked yesterday, I love Beth's story. So Beth began her career with HCPS in 1984 as a prep aide at Graham Elementary. And just for that, nobody knew what a prep aide was besides Miss Brown. She was the only one who knew the prep aide job description. So she began in 1984 as a prep aide at Graham. Then in 2000, she transferred to Schwarzkopf Elementary teaching 3rd grade. And then from 2005 to 2015, she taught EBD to 5th and 3rd graders at Citrus Park Elementary. And then in 2017, she transferred to Piso K, where she taught both 3rd and 5th grades. And then in 2018, she was appointed the AP at Dorothy Thomas Exceptional Center, where she currently serves until today, where she is now the new principal over at Dorothy Thomas. Beth, congratulations to you.
Yay.
Anybody with breath, family and friends, please stand as well. Congratulations to our 3 principals. I know you got a lot of work to do for Friday. Madam Chair, those are our principal appointments.
Yay.
Thank you, Superintendent. Congratulations, Principal. And now we will pause for a moment for those who would like to exit the boardroom and go celebrate, and congratulations again. Will now be heard. D 1.1, D 1.2, D 1.4, D 1.5, D 2.2, D 2.3, D 7.2, D 7.8, D 7.9, and D 713. Item number 1, the adoption and purchase of recommended instructional materials for career and technical education. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. The recommended titles for adoption and purchase were thoroughly reviewed by an adoption committee and voted upon by teachers. These titles will serve as the core instructional tools for CTE. And as you all know, per Florida Statute 1006.283 and School Board Policy 2510, the district must provide a 20-day public review period and conduct a public hearing before the board can approve the purchase of newly adopted materials. This public hearing was held at our last board meeting on July the 14th. This item is placed on the discussion agenda in accordance with State Statute 1006.28, requiring that the approval and purchase of adopted instructional materials be kept as a separate item for approval from the consent agenda, and that is 1.1. Any questions on it? Mr. Jargo is here.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve item D101, 1.1. I have a motion by Member Combs and a second by Member Washington. Member Gray, you pulled this item. Did you want to speak to it?
No, I have my questions answered. Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further comments or questions, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The next item is item 1.2, to approve the 2026-2027 Hillsborough County Public Schools District Comprehensive Evidence-Based Reading Plan. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And board members, you see this annually. This is our 26-27 District Comprehensive Evidence-Based Reading Plan. Annually, each school district is required to submit a SERP approved by the applicable school district school board for authority. After approval, each district must provide its SERP to the Florida Department of Education by August the 1st. The district SERP must accurately depict and detail the role of administration, both district and school level, professional learning, assessment, curriculum, and instruction in the improvement of student learning of the best English language arts standards. This district SERP must reflect expectations for all schools in all grade levels, VPK to 12, and is shared with all stakeholders upon its final approval by the state. And we have, of course, Tracy Bergman. I don't think there's anyone in the state of Florida that knows SERP more than Tracy Bergman, so we're lucky. So if we have any questions about the comprehensive evidence reading plan, Tracy is here, so that is 1.2.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve item D 1.1. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Gray. Member Gray and Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments? Member Gray?
No, I don't have any comments at this time. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you. Yes, I have my questions about this feels so loud. I have my questions answered about the comprehended reading, but I do want to point out that it still contains, and I know that we're not bringing it back, but the continuation of the contract for iReady. And I think as a board, we should talk about that in light of the data breaches that we had or sharing information. And now with talking about switching between screen time, I do want to just highlight it as a conversation that I'd like to have as a board since it's part of the 5-year plan. And I guess that's all.
Okay.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Seeing no questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The next item is item 1.4, agreement with Houghton Mifflin Harcourt Education Company. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So Read 180 was selected through the district's teacher instructional materials adoption process and will be implemented across all HCPS high school. This professional learning plan helps ensure teachers and school leaders have the training, coaching, and implementation support necessary for consistent, high-quality use of the program district-wide. And board members, you may remember you approved the curriculum last board meeting. This is the professional learning for high school that goes along with the Read 180 curriculum. So that is 1.4.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve item D 1.4. I have a motion by Member Combs and a second by Member Gray. Member Rendon, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Yeah, one of the comments I had on this agenda item, I do appreciate you bringing it forward. I do appreciate the training because this is the training piece that we're giving to the teachers. However, we adopted last board meeting to not only to adopt it for all of our high schools, but all of our middle schools. And so at that point in time, it was my understanding that we had already gathered the data from all of our high schools who have been implementing, but I now learned that it wasn't all of our schools. We had a select number of high schools that was using this, and it's been very successful. I understand the training is excellent. But I'd like to have known a little bit more of the data because we've not collected data from all of our high schools. And so I think moving forward, if we're going to adopt a curriculum, I would have liked this to be a complete picture that we should have been provided as a board, not just the items the board member before, and now we're doing the training, and yet we are now implementing it district-wide within all of our high schools, and we're piloting in 10 middle schools. I think we should have had that full picture last board meeting, and we should have adopted everything together. So we all understood that we're going from 10 high schools to all 29 high schools, and we're going to 10 middle schools, but we only have so I would have liked to do that comprehensively. So I just want to put that on as something that it doesn't feel right boxing them up. It's almost like we wanted this approved, now we want to approve this. We should have been educated on the complete package. So if we could do that for the future, I'd appreciate it.
Yeah, I think the only thing with this particular item, when there are procurement requirements, and Mr. Lewis, just correct me if I'm wrong, but on procurement requirements, because of professional learning, they couldn't be bundled together in the same item. But if that wasn't,
we could have had a conversation.
Absolutely,
about it.
Absolutely. But the reason for I want the board to know the reason this professional learning is coming at this board meeting, because you couldn't bring them both at the same time per procurement requirements. But the conversation, absolutely, Ms. Rendon. I don't know if that conversation was had or not. Obviously, it wasn't there, Mr. Brady, if you want to respond to that. But the reasoning why it's two separate agenda items is because of procurement requirements.
Well, and the other piece of that is that I was told how successful it was in high schools, which it is. And I will also say that everyone loves what it's done, and the training that's been given to the teachers for those 10 high schools is great. But I was under the impression it was all 29, and we're just continuing. Yet when we got to the learning piece, I learned now we're training them on the rest of the 29 high schools. We had not been in all 29 high schools. So I think that's important, that we should have at least had that conversation.
Yes, ma'am.
Seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The next item is item 1.5, Agreement Curriculum Associates, LLC. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
And thank you, Madam Chair. So this elevation, which I know you're all familiar with, you've approved it in previous years. So this is a teacher portal, really all around compliance with Elevation. The Elevation platform provides schools with real-time data points to target instruction, to enhance English language acquisition, improve academic outcomes for our English language learners. Elevation provides for the accuracy of the documentation necessary for FTE related to English language learners. In addition, the platform maintains required records to ensure our district's compliance with the Florida consent decree. I do want to add this 1.5. This is the last year they will be approving Elevation. Starting next year, this particular tool and compliance tool will be within our Focus SIS platform. So this is the last year for Elevation. We are piloting currently at 3 schools in our district with Focus. Next year will be full district-wide with Focus and the Elevation platform. This is the last year that we'll go through Elevate. That's 1.5.
Thank you. I need a motion and a second to approve this item. I have a motion by Member Rendon and a second by Member Washington. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
I don't. Mrs. Morgado was very good at getting in touch with me to make sure she answered all my questions for today. So I appreciate it, and I don't have any further questions.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The next item is item 2.2, sole source for agricultural education services and technology. Superintendent Van Ayers will highlight this item.
In 26-27, AEST will provide the opportunity for agriculture and biomedical students at 34 schools to take and earn industry certifications such as Agricultural Associates, Agricultural Systems Associates, Agricultural Biotechnology Specialists, Agricultural Communication Specialists, and Animal Science Specialists. AEST will be funded by industry certification funds aligned with the district strategic plan for academic excellence. And Mr. Chris Jargo is here if you have any questions, follow-up questions for 2.2 AEST.
Thank you, Superintendent Van Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve this item. I have a motion by Member Rendon and a second by Member Washington. Member Rendon, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just really want to emphasize the importance of this item. The agricultural community is changing, the industry is changing, and so being able to provide these opportunities is really lifting our students. We're seeing a lot of our students graduating from high school and going into our agricultural communities and through our university systems into a whole different. The industry is looking very different, and they're coming up with different ways of growing and different ways of looking at our plants and our agriculture through the state of Florida. The state of Florida agriculture is still the second largest industry, and so in order for us to be competitive as a district and competitive as a state, we need to continue to stay up with the technology and making sure our students are staying up with the latest and the greatest. So thank you so much for bringing this item. I think it's critically important as a district that we emphasize all the changes in different industries, and agriculture is one of the priorities not only for the health and safety of our students, but the security of our nation. So thank you so very much.
Thank you, Member Rendon. And, you know, every time we go to the Florida Fair, I see how many students are really starting to get into agriculture and how it's really growing. But also, you know, a lot of children, you know, I have a daughter who's really getting into the, you know, the backyard stuff, but how many families are really starting to really shift and starting to buy land, starting to really, and our students who are in the schools are bringing that education back to their families. So I really appreciate what you've brought here to us today, and how it's going to really shift and really help grow, but also really change the face of what Hillsborough County is really doing in the space of agriculture. Thank you. Seeing no other questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. I shut my mic off, and it passes unanimously. Next item is item 2.3, piggyback fabrics structures with related materials and services. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We have a CTE theme going on here tonight, so we'll continue. So our Career and Technical Education is requesting to purchase and install a new state-of-the-art greenhouse at Tomlin Middle School to support hands-on instruction and career exploration within agricultural education pathways. So Chris Jargo is here, and I failed to introduce Shay Graff is here. Shay is our supervisor within our CTE department, is here as well. Any questions regarding the new greenhouse over at Tomlin Middle School?
Do we need a next motion?
I was just fascinated by what he was saying. So I need a motion and a second to approve item D 2.3. I have a motion by Member Vaughn and a second by Member Combs. Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
I do. Thank you so much. I appreciate Mr. Jargo getting in touch with me so we can talk about the different funding sources, because it's listed as internal funding from the school, which through their industry certifications, they were able to earmark a lot towards this, but also understanding how much the CTE part of the district is contributing towards this. And I look forward to closely working with you, Shay, to understand how those dollars are being decided and allocated, and making sure that all of our agriculture programs are being prioritized, and understanding how that works. So it kind of led me down a rabbit hole, but I did get my questions answered. So thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Next item, 7.2, guaranteed maximum price for the modular relocation project at Apollo Beach K-8 school. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board members, I do want to know we're moving along this evening, but now we're getting to Mr. Farkas's item, so we'll see what goes on here. We had a great pace moving, so yeah. All right, here we go. There we go. Okay. So, board members, this board item requires approval of the GMP for the modular relocation project at Apollo Beach K-8 school. We propose to use third-party technicians who are assigned to the district on a full-time basis to provide quick resolutions to major projects requiring district-wide services. The need is due to the requirement of relocating modular classroom facilities at Apollo Beach K-8. The problems will be resolved by relocating modular classroom facilities, completing associated foundations, ramps, canopies, elevators, utility relocations, tech systems, and accessibility improvements at Apollo Beach K-8. That is item 7.2, the GMP for Apollo Beach K-8.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve this item. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Vaughn. Member Rendon, Member Vaughn, and Member Combs pull this item. Do you have any questions or comments? Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. No, I finally got my questions answered. But I do want to emphasize, or I guess the additional question I have, since we are going to transition to talk about our 5-year plan, is are moving our kids out of portables and making sure that we have classrooms and facilities as we transitioned our K-8 a priority also that we're looking at our 5-year plan?
100% if that's the will of the board, and I think we're going to talk about the 5-year plan and some of the constraints that go with it. But I just wanted to share with the board, if you don't mind, Ms. Vaughn, the whole reason that we had done that is to keep students in school. And one point I want to share, so when we did this in 23-24, there was 100 fifth grade students that were articulating to 6th grade that were assigned to Eisenhower Middle School. At that time, 21 of those 100 students attended Eisenhower. We lost 79 of those kids to either charter or private school. In 24-25, we had 106 fifth graders that were going to 6th grade. At that time, we gained it up and went to 55 kids that stayed around, so we had a 48% retention rate. This past year, we had 137 kids that are fifth graders that are going to be 6th graders, and 99 of those students stayed in Hillsborough County Public Schools. So we now have a 73% retention rate. So it's a capital expense, but I want to make sure you all know that what you voted for is actually happening, which our kids are staying in Hillsborough County schools. We're getting them back from charter or private or whatever that case may be. I mean, I still would rather be higher than 73%. I think we can shoot for that to what that looks like. And I think that part of that may be a permanent building down the road if that's what the board decides and we have the funding to do that. But it is important to understand this is just a requirement to make sure we have the space for the kids that are there. We have almost 300 students that are there in the middle school space.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I appreciate those numbers, and I'm glad our students are staying here because I do believe we have the best product in Hillsborough County. But I would also say that our Eisenhower numbers have also increased as far as our academic gains. So I don't want to be remiss in not making sure that we're not apples and apples. Our Eisenhower Middle School, which would have been the feeder middle school, is doing a phenomenal job and are gaining on their academic gains. Is that correct?
100%. I'm sure that Ms. McCray can talk to you a little bit better than I can. But we also are investing in that middle school, too, so from a physical standpoint, but also their academic standpoint. You're exactly right, Ms. Rendon.
Correct, because when we made this decision, it was specifically said that we were not going to have to invest any more money in order to do the K-8. We were going to be using portables, and so we're now having to redo these portables and move the portables based upon, I believe, flooding issues as well.
Well, it's not flooding issues. It's that when you exceed 20% of what the original student count was, so the county approves whatever, any school we cite, the high school, middle school, elementary school. When we go over 20% of that, we have to go back to the county to approve for them to say, hey, what do we need to do to make sure we're still in that? So at Collins, for example, went for Collins K-8, we had to do new traffic study. We had to pay for turn lanes, things like that. That's part of that 20%. So to that point, when we got to the 8th grade list, now we've exceeded the 20%. So now we have to meet the county standard, which includes raising the portables to the floodplain. So yes, to your—
But again, when we made this decision, none of that was informed to the board. That we made this decision, we also said because we have needs around this district for new builds, for upgrades, etc., and we specifically stated about the needs and are these going to be coming down the road? And we did not hear that we'd have to go back to the county because this is a choice school. So we could have capped that choice not to exceed that 20%, but we were not told at 20%, this will be the cost we're going to have to accrue. And so I find that to be disingenuous that 3 years later, we're now being asked to spend $4.5 million to prepare this school that we've now committed to this community which I understand because as a board we committed to, but these are the reasons why other things are not happening, because we commit to something without full knowledge, and then now we have to now commit to that. Because 3 years ago, I asked things about flooding. I asked about, will we have to put more cost in? Are we going to have to build new buildings? And it was said we were not going to have to do all this. So 3 years later, I'm now being asked to approve a $4.5 million renovation. And now, even now you're talking about we may have to add on a whole building. That's going to be many millions of dollars. And so, again, we've got to make decisions preparing for the next. And we do have a middle school that is in within distance, that is a very capable middle school, that has open space, that is an excellent school for a student to attend to. So, again, we've got another elementary school that wants to become a K-8. These are things we have to be concerned about, that we're going to be committed to in the future to have to make these adjustments. I would like to know what those are before we approve going to a K-8. If I would have known, oh, we're going to accept them, because the district is responsible for the acceptance of the students. So you've chosen to go over the mark where we're now having to spend that money before the board approved it. So now we're in a position to have to approve it or tell students they can't go after we've accepted it. That's not putting a board into a very good position to our constituents, to our community, because we committed to making this K-8, and we should have known, guys, if we go over this number, this is what it's going to do. This is what we're going to have to do. I feel it's very disingenuous to bring it to us 3 years later and ask for another $4.5 million when we should have known that commitment, because you've accepted those students as a district.
Absolutely.
I mean, so now as a board, we're now being asked to do that, to take care of the students that, you know, you chose to put that over. And again, this is millions of dollars. These add up. We've got 3 new schools that have to be built in Plant City because there's over 10,000 new homes. The city of Plant City just approved new development in downtown for new homes. So again, we've got new homes that are being built, and we're not even putting those on the 5-year plan. But now, a decision that was made 3 years ago that was not supposed to add on the expense, except for the expense at a time, I'm now having to spend $4.5 million because you accepted more students than what it allowed. I just find that very disingenuous to put us in that position.
And I respect that opinion. If I could just respond back to that, Superintendent. When we, at the time, we 100% said we weren't going to build a building. It was only going to be portables, that we had talked about that part too. We cannot pre-apply to the county to figure out what that cost would have been. We knew there was going to be a cost of portables, but Ms. Rendon, I respect what you're saying. If we should have said that there was going to be a cost and make an estimate of that thing. That's a fair request.
Or we should have been educated that if we cap this at this, if we go over the 20%, there'll be an additional cost. Unless other board members have been educated, I have not been.
No, ma'am.
Thank you, Member. And then Member Combs.
Thank you. I mean, I think this is a very complex issue. I mean, looking at the growth management and the growth of the schools and the areas. And I think, when you look at the cost of the amount of money that we're getting from, the state of Florida, and the cost of construction going up so high, I think we're just going to have to continue being very fiscally conservative and very careful about this. So when we look at schools that want to become K through 8s, we're going to have to really look at, having a school that we already have, not redoing that, because as much as I care so much about when someone comes in and talks about the 100 or 200 students that they want to attend, if there's a school that's feasible that they could attend, that parents are choosing not to attend, we can't sit there and spend millions and millions and millions of dollars because parents don't want to go down to one school. They prefer going to stay in their neighborhood. We just don't have the opportunity to do that. We've got to really look at some areas that are really shrinking, like in Shake's area, and I look at parts of my area where people are not able to move into those areas, and the birth rates are shrinking and everything's shrinking, but in your area, everything is expanding. So we don't have that ability to be able to tell parents like, hey, we're able to convert your Adobe K through 8, or we're able to convert, this school to that, or we're able to do that. We don't have that luxury anymore. So we just have to really, continue having workshops as a board, continue talking about things, be really careful with the operations, and continue to make really fiscally hard decisions. If parents choose they don't want to go down to a school, that doesn't mean that we have to spend millions of dollars because they just would rather go down the street to their house. We don't have that opportunity. As a matter of fact, you're looking at 3 or 4 charter schools now closing. So you're having this impacted all the way across. Schools are being impacted everywhere. So we know we're the best product out there for what we have to offer. We just have to be able to offer that product and be able to expand those schools. So thank you, Mr. Farkas, and your team for all the growth management. That is such a hard project to work on. It's such a difficult thing, but we have to continue to make really tough decisions. And, I'm going to support this because I committed to it, but you're not going to see me really supporting too much more when it comes to buildings and things like that. I just can't do that right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Hunt?
Thank you, Chair Perez. I would agree with the K-8s. I think that if we ever want to move forward in the future, we should have workshops before it comes to the board to really discuss it. If this is something parents are really wanting, then we need a plan for it, not just a one-off every couple months or every year. But we have committed to this community. I will say I'm very happy that we're retaining families and that you didn't close the door on that, because we're fighting for every single student right now. And I would rather invest in expanding that K-8 and maybe not do the Waterset school. If we expand in the K-8, which would be a lot less expensive than building a brand new school in Waterset, and we are uplifting Eisenhower at the same time, we would have 2 really strong options for families. So I don't think you made the wrong decision. I think you are exactly right, continuing to accept students into the school. Because we need to retain our families. And the truth of the matter is, even though Eisenhower is turning upward and has so many positive things happening, it really hasn't been on that upward swing long enough for families to they need to see it sustained before they trust in that system again. So they would not have probably chosen Eisenhower at this time. A year from now, I hope that's changed. I hope they are choosing Eisenhower, and I think they will be choosing Eisenhower. I have a lot of faith in what's going on there. But I do think that, we have the 5, we have the 10-year plan, and things like this might change that in regards to, okay, now we're investing in this school. We may not need to build a brand new school. These 2 schools may be able to absorb all the families that are down there, and we have Collins down there as well. So I don't see it as, we're investing in the wrong place. I think we're investing in the right place, but I just think we need to look at, a couple of years down the road, do we need that Waterset school? Because there is an enormous amount of growth in East County. I think it's even 15,000 new homes that were approved, not 10, but it's an enormous amount either way. So I'm going to support this tonight because I think it's the right way to invest in that community. And I think that the revenue that those students are going to bring in, and parents are going to continue to invest in our schools down there, it's going to be a plus. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hunt. Member Gray?
Yeah, these are really significant points the board members are bringing up. But the philosophical part of this is, you have tremendous growth, Plant City, all the way to Polk, and then you have tremendous growth in Apollo Beach. And then what you have to think about is how do we take care of that growth and get it into our public FTE system. So if you want to make a school competitive, this is the part where we have agricultural studies there. Kids are pouring in. They're very excited. There is a lot more kids coming to that school. It's exploding. And then, yes, we did put them in the portables. It was with the flood zone and everything else, you might wonder if they're going to float around. So the necessity of infrastructure was very important. The point is, too, you can go ahead and say, I want to be competitive, and I'm going to make this an attractor school. And there's an investment. And Mr. Farkas, you are investing. All right, we have it. But then the other point the board's making is, hey, give us the yearly trend of expenses coming our way. So I think what I'm hearing from the board members is to have the workshop, make it more of a fluid versus, all of a sudden. It's not all of a sudden to me, or probably Stacy, because that's her district. We're very familiar with that community, but it is kind of, for the other board members who are not familiar with that area. So, point well said. I'm going to support it. I know the need is very, very clear, and it's going to be an extremely successful school. So we're hoping for a very good high FTE. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. Seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The next item is item 7.8, 2025-27 Tentative District Educational Facilities Plan.
Madam Chair, if you'll note, it's almost 5:01, and the board probably needs to go to its budget first public hearing because we've advertised it for 5:01.
Yes.
So if we could jump ahead to that, I think that would be appropriate.
You got it. It is recommended that the board adopt a tentative budget of $4,290,219,862.
Madam Chair. Let me get us to the right.
Oh, one.
Page 11.
Thank you.
Madam Chair.
Thank you. The hearing for the policies, or the first public hearing on the millage rates and tentative budget for 2026 fiscal year. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. School board members, we present to you in our community the 2026-2027 millage rates and proposed tentative budget, also known as the first public hearing for the millage rates and tentative budget. Our budget includes all government and proprietary funds of the district and the proposed tax rate.
At this time, I'll adjourn the regular school board meeting and open the public hearing on the millage rates and tentative budget for the fiscal year 2026-27. Mr. Jamie Lewis, our Chief Financial Officer, will now present.
Thank you, Madam Chair and Board, for tonight's opportunity to discuss our first public hearing. I know we've been flying through tonight's board meeting, and Ms. Perez, you got a little ahead of ourselves. So we'll get to those points you were mentioning a few minutes ago, but we are excited to bring the first hearing presentation to you here tonight. So we'll want to begin with exactly what we're here tonight to do, and we'll have several recommendations to the board for you to vote on, and we'll work through that in each individual piece. Our agenda for tonight will go over the following items, and I think that will help give a clear path to what we're looking at in our final hearing, which will be held later in September. And tonight we'll be going over our 27 timeline about exactly how the budget will go and what the final processes will be as we set our budget in September. We'll do a presentation of the proposed millage rates and tentative budget. We'll have public comments if there is any. We'll have a board discussion. Then we'll have an adoption of our millage rates, an adoption of our proposed budgets, and then we'll go over the final process for here tonight. And again, as we always want to do, we want to educate the public of what exactly that timeline will be as we navigate through the next couple of days and months. As you notice, we're on July 28th. A couple items we've already accomplished, and those were providing a tentative budget to the board a couple of weeks ago. We were able to get certification of our values for property taxes from the Department of Revenue by July 19th. And the advertisement went out this past weekend in the Times. And so we're here tonight to talk about the first public hearing. After that, we'll be working with the property appraiser starting tomorrow to confirm the results of tonight, and then look forward to September 15th for our final public hearing and submit the rest of our data later that month. Our proposed millage rates for fiscal year 26-27, we wanted to provide a little bit of background of exactly what we're here tonight to discuss and what each of our mills actually represent. And I think this will help give a better education to both our district and to our public about what it is that we're talking about and what that means when we vote on it. The Truth in Millage, or the Florida Trim Law, was enacted in 1980. It's detailed in Florida statute under Section 200. And the state requires that school districts to clearly disclose the proposed millage rates and budgets annually by 2 public hearings. This would include the three primary mills that we'll talk about tonight, which are the required local effort, discretionary millage, and capital outlay millage. The TRIM process informs the public about the legislative process which determines the property taxes. Florida state law provides for public input and for governing of tax authorities to state specific reasons for proposed changes in taxes and the budget. Florida statute also is detailed in defining the process and timetable to be followed in adopting these taxes that we're talking here tonight, which is our millage rates. The numbers reflected tonight are representative of the first public hearing and are based on the second calculation that was released earlier in July from the Department of Education. Are subject to change based on closing out the prior fiscal year and any other changes that we might see through future calculations. As we consider our mills tonight, we wanted to highlight the Florida Education Finance Program. We talk a lot about that when we go through our budget amendments every year, but sometimes we fail to go back and define exactly what that is. And I think this is a good opportunity here tonight to talk about that and then how it's closely related to our mills that we'll talk about later. In 1973, the Florida Legislature enacted the Florida Education Finance Plan, or we usually refer to it as the FEFP, and established a state policy on equalized funding and guarantee to each student in the Florida public education system the availability of programs and services appropriate to his or her educational needs that are substantially equal to those available to any other student, notwithstanding the geographical differences of varying local economic factors. It's a program that's supposed to help equalize funding across all districts, no matter where you're at in the state. The FEFP is the primary place and workings of how we get funded for our budget. And it's operating through school districts across the states. It consists of both state and local property tax funds. And I think that's important, that it doesn't just consist of state-only funds. It's a partnership between local and state funds. The Florida legislature sets the required local effort, which we'll talk about a little later tonight, and they set that millage rate annually. The Department of Revenue will certify the property tax values that they work with in each property appraiser's office per county. The important thing that we'll consider as we go through tonight is school boards must levy the millage set for the required local effort to participate in the FEFP program. And so as we consider tonight, we have to accept that to be able to continue to receive the FEFP state funding, and we'll talk about that a little more in a few seconds. So let's go back to what is a millage. A millage is a tax rate defined as dollars assessed for each $1,000 of value. 1 mill is $1 per 1,000 of assessed value. What it would mean for our property owners are if you have a home that's been assessed a value of $200,000 and you qualify for a homestead exemption, your taxable value is $175,000. The formula would go is we would divide that by 1,000 and then times that by our millage rates, and the property tax that will be owed by that homeowner will be $1,108.45. And so that gives a good example of how millages work and then what's the impact to our residents and our community. Tonight, in a few seconds, we'll be making a recommendation to the board for the following proposed millage rates. Before you see our actual millage rates for last year and our proposed millage rates for this year. We do anticipate a decline in our millage rate from last year to this year of 0.0060, or that's a 0.09% decrease in the total mills that we'll be assessing. And we'll go through each mill in a minute and define exactly what it's used for. But you also see that only one out of all of our categories here is taking a decrease. Most of our mills are stable, and we'll talk about that again as you see a chart in a few seconds. But our required local effort did decrease by 0.0260 or 0.84% from the previous year. I think one of the graphs that's really helped me understand our millage rate and being in the district for a short period of time is looking back in our history. Before you see a 10-year snapshot of our historical millage rates. And as you look, there's a couple of things that we want to note that I think helps tell our story of how properties have been assessed and taxed by the school district and exactly what that has meant over the last decade. The green boxes at the bottom are our local capital improvement. And we'll talk about what those are used for in a second, but you do see that across the 10 years, we have assessed 1.5 total mills, and that's been obviously very stable. The next one in orange is a 0.748 mill rate, and that's our discretionary local. Again, this is part of the FEFP process that's helping us stabilize maybe things that we don't see that stack up to other districts, and that's helping to level that playing field as the FEFP stated its goal was. And then the blue box is our required local effort in any prior year adjustment. The one thing we wanted to point out here is we have seen a decline, steady decline over the last 10 years. And in fact, we've seen a decline every year for the last 10 years. And if we look over 10 years, we do see that it has decreased by negative 0.262 mils. In addition to that, this past year, and this will be the second year of it, we had the opportunity that Hillsborough County residents voted yes for our referendum. It's been a great help to our teachers and to our personnel here, and also our academic programs. But you do see that we added the 1.0, and that's in the light blue boxes in 26 and 27. If you were to remove that 1.0 mil and look over the past decade, our total mills went down by 1.262 total mills over that period of time. That's a significant challenge for us as we look at that and what that means, but it does show a story where we have taxed less on Hillsborough County residents based on the guidances that we get from the state, and then even with our increase that we have in 2027 of a total mill package of 6.3340, that's still less than total mills that were assessed in 2018. And I think that's a good point to help tell our story in Hillsborough, is that even with the 1.0 mill, we're still assessing less mills than we did a decade ago. And I don't think others can say that, but I think we can say that in Hillsborough, and that's a good thing that we can inform others. Another thing that we wanted to make sure was helpful was kind of go through each millage and exactly what it is, who assesses it, and what it's used for. And so we'll start on the far left in the dark blue. Our required local effort this year will be 3.0660 mils. That funding is a portion of the FEFP state funding that we do receive. And again, that's that partnership that FEFP program has between state and local funds. School boards, again, are required to levy this to participate in the FEFP. If we fail to levy it, we will not qualify to participate in the program. This mill is also set by the Florida legislator, and it is certified. The certified values come from the Florida Commissioner of Education. The next in the green box, their discretionary local effort, the 0.7480. This again is authorized by the Florida legislator as a maximum of this mill rate as part of the FEFP program. It's authorized by the legislator and adopted by school boards. So again, part of the FEFP funding that we see on each calculation. In the middle, we have a required local effort prior year funding adjustment. The state required reconciliation of required local effort millage every single year. And based on the prior year's final certified property values, sometimes there's a difference and sometimes there don't. If you look back in our history, there's some years we do have an adjustment and some don't. It just depends on the reconciliation that occurs. This is calculated by the Florida Department of Education, and it's in addition to the required local effort. In the orange box, it assessed at a 1.5 mil, we have our local capital improvement. This is outside of the general fund, but it directly supports a lot of the things that we talk about on a school board meetings, and allows Mr. Farkas and his group to really make substantial differences in our schools and our community. This millage is dedicated to construction, remodeling, and you see the list there. It pretty much is able to impact a lot of what we do, and you can't find a better source that's impacted the students' life and their journey with us, and it's a great thing that we have. This, again, is authorized by the Florida legislator and adopted by school boards. Finally, our voted millage, 1.0 mil, this will be our second year with this millage, is locally improved. And so we just want to make the emphasis, all the rest of them are state approved. This last one is locally approved by Hillsborough County residents, and it is split between HCPS and charter schools. Referendums are levied in accordance to the voter authorization. So again, one of the things with this one is not only was it voted on, we told the residents of Hillsborough County how it would be used, and that's exactly how we're following it. For Hillsborough County Public Schools, 92% of these funds support salary enhancements, which impacted over 23,000 employees this past year, and it also 8% will support academic enhancements. Madam Chair, our recommendation here tonight is for the board for the approval of the proposed millage rates totaling 6.3340 as outlined below for fiscal year 26-27, and that is our recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. Is there anyone present who wishes to address the board concerning the proposed millage rates or rollback rate? I need a motion and a second to adopt the fiscal year 2026-27 millage rates as presented. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Hahn.
And Madam Chair and board members, I'll just remind you that there are several motions that you'll be doing tonight as part of the budget public hearing. This motion is just on setting the millage. If you have questions about substantive provisions of the budget, that would be for the next motion. So this is just about the millage only. But you can ask, the next part of the motion will be, or the next motion will be about the budget itself.
Board members, do you have any questions or comments specifically regarding the proposed millage rates or rollback rate as presented? Seeing none, please vote.
I'm in the queue.
Oh, you're in the queue. I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I did.
I snuck on in there.
Ron?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a question about how this millage will affect our this millage Can I ask that now? Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Been waiting weeks to ask this. So based on that information that you presented, which was very clear, and I appreciate that, this is very complicated information, so any opportunity to prepare the history, to break it down so people can see it in graphics, for people to understand is much appreciated because, again, this is so complex. But based on the reduction in the millage rate that we're about to adopt because we have to, how much do you anticipate that taking out of or affecting our budget that we're going to adopt for next year?
I know I provided that to you over the weekend. I can't recall the number off the top of my head, but I will say this, and you're referring to the required local effort reduction this current year compared to last year. I believe I had mentioned it was a couple $1 million that we would see in a reduction. And again, you got to be careful with that because the values did increase. And so, again, we don't set the values either. I think that's something that we want to make clear, that we receive those values through the property appraiser that's certified by the state of Florida. But even a small decrease in a mill rate for the value total of Hillsborough County makes a huge difference. Because our county is so big, the values are in the billions, and just a 0.001% chance of decrease there makes a huge impact. And I hope that is that. I think answering your question is it's definitely a challenge, and we've seen that decrease occur over the last decade for required local effort. And so we're thankful that the others were stable, but it has been a continued decline for the last couple of years.
So since you sent it to us and I was out of town, so I'm sorry, I must have missed that. Can you give me a ballpark? I understand that it fluctuates because prices are going up, but let's say prices stayed the same. If prices were to stay the same based on that mill reduction, what's a ballpark are we talking around here? Just so people listening and the public have an idea and can understand what that looks like to our budget.
One second. And I can tell you the exact number.
I feel like the Jeopardy theme should be playing, you know?
We could confirm this number to you, but based on my current estimates, is somewhere between around $3 million that we would have lost. We can confirm that, and again, it's something we didn't have readily available here tonight.
And that point is, if the millage rate, the question is just so we're all clear, if the millage rate had stayed, the RLE, the required local effort, had stayed the same from last year to this year, we would have had an additional $3 million added to the budget, correct?
Assuming property values stay the
assuming
same
everything
as well.
else
Both
is
of
the
them would
same.
have to stay the same.
No, that was based off of the approved property values for this current year.
Okay.
So if it would, the mill rate would have stayed the same and property values went up, which they always do, then that would have been roughly about $3 million extra we would have received.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Please vote when your light's up here. And this part passes unanimously. Mr. Lewis, please continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We will continue our presentation here tonight. Pablo? Thank you. Gotta give him a hard time. I think this is his last time with us here tonight, so sorry, I had to mention that. Our next part of the presentation will be a proposed tentative budget for fiscal year 26-27. As we mentioned earlier, the area that you just approved is a major part of what we'll talk about in the general fund, as it supports a majority of our funding. And we'll break that down in just a second. So we look at our general fund major budget assumptions for this coming year. We'll start focusing on revenue first, and then we'll go to our expenses. Again, the highlights you'll see before you are going to be more tailored to the general fund, but we will discuss all funds in just a second. Hillsborough County Public Schools general fund receives revenue from primarily 3 different sources. About estimated 54% of our revenue has come from state sources. That includes the FEFP program that's been talked about here tonight, our state categorical allocations, and other miscellaneous state revenues. About a total of 45% of our budget is supported by local sources. That includes the property taxes that we just discussed. It talks about investment, various fees, and miscellaneous other local sources. And finally, we are supported by federal sources, which is only about 1% of our general fund budget. Those are things like federal impact, ROTC, Medicaid, and other areas. As we consider state funding and look at the FEFP program, which we focus here tonight, it totals about $1.15 billion and supports our general fund revenue by 50%. As we look at the BSA student, it increased from $55,372.60 to $5,467.60. The BSA, or base student allocation, is our primary driver for the FEFP, and that's in its relationship to a funding set amount to our FTE. That increase represents a 1.6% increase, and that increase again is per FTE. As we consider local property taxes, they account for 40% of our total budget, and that includes both their operating support and the referendum millage. That total millage decrease, as we just talked about, improved from 6.340 to 6.3340, but property taxes did increase. If you were to combine our state FEFP funding and our local property tax funding, they account for 90% of our total revenue. And so as we consider how to operate the district, and as far as the general fund goes, our 2 sources of how we run our district are from those 2 sources at 90%. And so those are preset for us. There's not a lot of fluctuation in those. We do budget property taxes at 96%, and we work closely with local officials and departments to make sure we get those collections. But again, those are also out of our control. The FEFP is funded directly on our FTE. So as we see enrollment fluctuations, that also could impact that funding. But again, we wanted to emphasize our budget in the general fund by these 2 areas is supported by 90%. As we consider the base student allocation, we wanted to provide a quick history that shows also the changes that we've seen over the last couple of years. As mentioned a few minutes ago, we did see an increase from last year to this year of $85, or 1.6% growth. As we look over the last decade, we have seen the BSA increase by $1,253.65, or around 29.8% increase. Now, the one thing we want to make sure we clarify with the BSA is sometimes it's dangerous to look at the history. And the reason for that is the BSA incorporates a lot of different things. And sometimes the state will include or roll categoricals into it, and sometimes they're taken out of it. And so we have to be careful when we look at the growth factor, good and bad, from what the dollar would be in comparison to other years, is because those have been impacted by different ways. So it's not always an apple for apple, maybe look at it if you want to say it like that, because it doesn't always represent the same thing. But we do want to recognize what that is. And again, this is something that directly supports us and our charter schools. As we consider our expenditures for this next year, we wanted to provide in the general fund our expense categories and the percentages that it makes up for our budget. We won't go through all those numbers, but you see them before. But one good indicator that we do strive to maintain is how do we deal with, or how do we budget and maintain a healthy relationship for our biggest expense that we have here at the district. Personnel expense is the number one cost expense for our district. We try to maintain an 80% total expenditure for salaries and employee benefits. For this next year, we predict that 80.5% of total expenditures and transfers, excluding charter schools, will be total personnel expense. As we consider the next item, I think this is an area that we really had to address, and we're still looking at how do we look at those fundings, because healthcare costs is our number one increase in challenges for us as far as a cost increase. Approximately a $48 million increase to the general fund this year, $58 million, $58 million to all funds. Apologize about that. Would ask my budget manager to help, but she ain't there no more. All right, sorry about that. It's been a couple of long nights. All right, so 80.5% of our total expenditures is our mark for this coming year. That's a really important number that we believe that we strive to maintain. A couple of years ago, if you look back in our history, it wasn't 80%. I think this district has done a good job of being fiscally minded to make sure that we're trying to balance the needs of our employees and the needs of our other operating expenses, and to try to provide a fiscal balanced budget to the board each year. And so as we consider that, the healthcare costs, as we mentioned a minute ago, is our number one driver, the biggest challenge we had this coming year. Approximately $48 million increase to the general fund budget, but approximately $58 million to all funds. When we say approximate, that number does change by a number of factors, including as we're onboarding teachers right now, and the plans that they do select will determine the final cost. The one things that we do want to highlight, and back in June we brought the item to you, the district felt it was important, and along with the insurance committee, to make a significant investment into our employees based on the cost of living in Tampa and the challenges that they've been facing. So this year, the reason that number is so high, the district took 100% of the increased cost on, and we're making the appropriate reductions, especially at the district level, working through those right now to be able to provide that. By doing so, we're able to continue the employee free plan and provide no premium cost increases to our employees. And I think that's been a significant investment. It becomes a significant challenge for the budget process, but we've been glad to do that, and I think that's a great investment into our employees. As far as challenges goes, utility costs, inflation, school and student needs are continuing to be challenged for us on a day-to-day situation. As we all experienced our individual lives at the grocery store, at the gas pump, and prices are going up to a certain degree more, the district is also facing those challenges. And so as we consider the increase in funding, but also as we have talked about before, we've seen a loss of students. Those are significant challenges. We try to balance a budget to you, and as we try to work through that. But nonetheless, we are bringing to you a balanced budget, and we are still working through that, and we will continue to work through that for the rest of the year. As we consider what you have before you is our total budget, we also wanted to acknowledge the general fund represents 59.4% of our entire budget of $4.2 billion. And so as we consider that, out of that 59%, 80% of that is related to people cost. And so those are things that we try to maintain. Our employees are our greatest asset, but it's also our greatest expense. And so those are things that we have to always be mindful of and try to work through. Madam Chair, that's our presentation for the tentative budget. It's our recommendation that the board considers the approval of the proposed tentative budget of $4.2 billion as outlined below. I have also added the percent of total budget to each of our fund categories so you can get an idea of how the $4.2 billion is split up. But Madam Chair, that is our recommendation for fiscal year 26-27.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis, and I also lose my voice whenever and my air whenever I look at this budget too. Just saying. And that's probably my fellow board members do as well. So, is there anyone present who wishes to address the board concerning the 2026-27 tentative budget? Seeing none, I need a motion and a second to adopt the tentative budget. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Washington. Board members, do you have any questions or comments regarding the 2026-27 tentative budget? Member Vaughn? I saw you this.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair. Again, Mr. Lewis, I appreciate that very thorough presentation. I just want to reiterate that I understand some things correctly. When you were talking about the $85 that the BSA went up, I think it was good that you pointed out that depending on whether the legislation changes categoricals, that could have a drastic effect, and that just because it went up $85 doesn't mean that's revenue that we're getting in, because if categoricals change and we have to change the shifting of how we fund things, that money could end up being a washout, and actually it could not contribute to our revenue in any way, shape, or form. Would you say that's fair so far? Because we discussed it as a workshop, and that's what I took away from that workshop, that even with that $85 adjustment in the BSA, because of the way that that's been shifted and how we're bargaining now with the money that has to be bargained at a certain point with certain employees, that now does not increase our budget as we had hoped for. Is that a fair analysis of that?
Yes, ma'am. And so as we consider that, the BSA would have increased our amount of money per student, but two factors that affect that is because our student enrollment has dropped over the last year, then that's less dollars that we have. As we consider that, and I think this might be helpful, and I know we've discussed this before, as we look at enrollments over the last couple of years, I think it's helpful to understand where we are and what we're expecting. The good news, and I'll start there, is we're hoping and expecting a slight bump and or increase in our enrollment from where we ended last year to where we will begin this year for our K-12 traditional classrooms. And so as we consider that, we did see a significant drop that we've explained here at board meetings before of over 7,000 students over the year-over-year change since the spring of 25. That directly impacts the funding that we'll get from the FEFP. But in addition to that, inside that $85 increase, to your point, even though it is the BSA and it's kind of a big rounded number of what we have, there is ways or there is guidance of how we spend that money in there. Part of that we have to honor. And so to your point, we might have saw an $85 increase, but we are directed of how we can spend some of those funds. And so it isn't just unrestricted funds of what we can use. We have to fill the commitments that were made inside that.
I appreciate that answer. And then even though we're anticipating our student population to go up, that's not a guarantee the state is going to recognize them or even say they might not be enrolled anywhere else or pay us for them or even possibly take money back because they've overcommitted it. So from my understanding of the way that you've presented it with the discussions that we've had, the only source of revenue that's going up in this budget is property taxes, property values going up. Other than that, between our millage and the reduction, the increase in the BSA, which really is a wash with the categoricals being changed, there is no additional revenue to this year's budget. Am I understanding everything correctly as we've discussed it?
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Rendon?
Yes, I want to reiterate what Member Vaughn said, because we have been designated by the legislature that we must use the TSIA money that's been designated directly for teachers as part of that BSA. And right now, the increase of the $85 and that TSIA money that was designated is equitable, so there will be no increase revenue for the district.
Yeah, I think another way you could look at that is if we were to look at what we predict to get in state funding from the FEFP, the state portion, in comparison to last year, I believe it's going to be around $25 million less than it was last year.
Okay, so I want to make sure everyone recognizes that when the money that we are provided by the state of Florida per student, we're looking at a reduction of $25 million equitably.
So yes, because our enrollment dropped. But inside that $25 million loss, there's funds that we now have to dedicate that was in addition to what we spent last year for a certain group of personnel based on the guidelines we received from the state.
And we are limited in how we spend that based on the guidelines given to us by the state of Florida.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Vaughn.
Sorry, I appreciate that. I also just wanted to highlight, per the information you just shared, that as we're talking about no revenue increase other than the property taxes, we have spent an additional $48 million on health care. And what I'm wondering is if there's a way to somehow get some sort of an estimate, as the board is continually talking about fiscal responsibility, of just how much inflation is rising our costs up, whether it's electricity, whether it's the price of textbooks, whether it's the price of our workforce that's not our employees to come and work and service our equipment, whether it's the price of equipment as we replace air conditionings, just an understanding of how much inflation has raised our costs, I think would be important as we holistically have this conversation about our finances.
Yes, ma'am. And I think to that point, because our budget is so big, trying to figure out what would be a good way to show that, we can provide a history of our energy cost. I think that's the one that would be the best way to see that inflation. We are hoping, as it was announced by our provider, that we'll see a reduction in those costs this year that hopefully will start in August or September. We are hoping. But nonetheless, and again, I think that's the way that I look at it is things that I experience with my family or as my home, we experience that same thing at the district. And so as we've experienced increases in our utility bills, so has the district. Obviously, it's a much larger dollar amount, but we can provide that, and that will show a good example, to your point, of how inflation has really impacted us over the years.
Yeah, what would be helpful for me is like energy cost 20%, building cost 20%, kind of an itemized categorical, and then revenue decrease by 10%. Something that just very easily allows me to understand our costs going out versus our revenue coming in. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Gray.
That's an interesting point, Member Vaughn, because when you do the home, the actual home experience of expenditures and how inflation is biting into housing and biting into food costs and biting into electricity with future data centers, I think, Superintendent Van Ayers, it would be really helpful because the average person wants to see, in a graphic, however statistical, what's going on with the actual economy and how it's really deflating our own revenue, inflationary. I think that's a really important point. So let's go ahead and look at that as part of one of your graphics, because we are going to go out on the streets of Rome to try to get our sales tax. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Gray. And Mr. Lewis, you said something really important, that this is not coming from here, from our local board. This is coming from up in Tallahassee. Can you repeat that just a little bit more, please?
Of course. And so as we consider the 90% of our budget, the revenue that we'll receive, the 50% comes from the FEFP, and 40% comes from our local property taxes. The amount of money in the property taxes that we'll get that are dedicated for the operating budget. With the exception of our voted millage, which is part of that property tax, all those funds are directed through the FEFP program, which are set through the legislature process every year. And if we remember back, that process started back in January. They were able to finish up around May, June, and then the budget was signed later that month. So I think we have little control over that besides the students that we have, and we are trying to get every student into Hillsborough County public schools because that's where we want them to be. And so we are trying to work on that, and we're hoping for a very strong opening day in a few weeks. But to your point, those aren't set by us. They're set by the state, both the millage that we can assess and also the revenue that we get through the program.
Thank you so much for that. Now, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes. Mr. Lewis, please continue.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We want to recognize the next time that we'll have our public hearing, and that's going to be Tuesday, September 15th at 5:01 here at this same location, and that will be the date of our final hearing. And so that leads us to our last recommendations to you, Madam Chair, and the board. Our recommendation, and we'll start with number 1. We recommend the approval of the resolutions of adopting the millage rates and tentative budget for fiscal year 2026-2027, and that's for the millage of 6.3340 and a $4.29 billion total budget.
Thank you, Mr. Lewis. I need a motion and second to approve the resolution adopting the 2026-27 millage rates and tentative budget as presented. I have a motion by Member Combs and a second by Member Washington. Board members, do you have any questions, comments specifically addressing the resolution adopting the 2026-27 rates and tentative budget? Seeing none, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes. Mr. Lewis, please continue.
Pablo? All right. Our final recommendation to the board tonight is number 2. We recommend to the board that you authorize staff to perform all necessary tasks to ensure compliance with the truth and millage of the trim requirements of Chapter 200 in Florida statute. And Madam Chair, that's our recommendation.
I need a motion and a second to authorize the staff to perform all tasks necessary to ensure compliance with the truth and millage requirements of Chapter 200 Florida statutes as presented. I have a motion by Member Combs and a second by Member Washington. Board members, do you have any questions or comments specifically regarding the authorization of staff to perform these tasks necessary to ensure compliance with truth and millage requirements of Chapter 200 Florida statutes? Seeing none, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. The final public hearing for the fiscal year 2026 adopted budget and millage rates will be held Tuesday, September 15th at 5:01 p.m. We will now adjourn the public hearing on the millage rates and tentative budget for fiscal year 2026-27 and reconvene the regular school board meeting. Find out where I left off. Next item is 7.8, 2025-27 Tentative District Educational Facilities Plan. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And just for the record, our first 6 items took about 15 minutes, and then Mr. Farkas and Mr. Lewis were about 1 hour and 20 between the both of them. So now I know why my team didn't want Mr. Farkas and Mr. Lewis here tonight. They're like, all right, here we go. We had to do the budget, though. Had to do the budget. All right, on to 7.8. This is our tentative district educational facilities plan. And board members, you see this every year, so you're familiar with this. There are 2 of these. So this is the tentative. So this is the one that's now, and then you'll of course have the final in October. Pursuant to Florida Statute 1013.35, the school board is required to annually approve a district educational facilities plan, also known as the 5-year work plan. This plan outlines facility needs over 5, 10, and 20-year periods. The plan includes project capital outlay revenue, student population growth based on capital outlay full-time equivalent enrollment, planned construction projects, facility renovations, class size impacts, and the use of portable or temporary instructional spaces. Under the interlocal agreement for school facility siting and concurrency, local jurisdictions must receive a copy of the educational facilities plan and have an opportunity to review it and submit comments to the school board before the final approval at the October 6, 2026 meeting. So this is our tentative tonight. This will come back to you on October the 6th is the final plan, and that is item 7.8, our tentative educational facilities plan, our work plan.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve item D 7.8. I have a motion by Member Washington and a second by Member Hahn. Member Gray and Member Vaughn, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
I'll allow Member Gray to go first.
Member Gray?
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. Superintendent Van Ayers, I would like to go ahead and please add the Turkey Creek Strawberry School for renovation to the 5-year plan. We have funding from the HUD grant for fairly much approved. We have over 8 large partnerships that we're developing from Bush Farms, Aston Farms, excuse me, Farrah Johnson, FFA advisor and past president, Kenneth Parker from Florida Strawberry Growers Association, Kyle N. Robinson from Florida Strawberry Festival. We have had support from Fancy Farms. These are heartfelt letters. They're not form letters. This is a community, and I know Member Rendon is very much reminded, that is growing. Plant City takes care of Plant City. And this school is emblematic of a historical site, but a necessary site to encase and encompass over 150 workstations on the first floor, leading to 165 stations. This is relevant to FTE on the second floor. We are now looking at Turkey Creek Middle School and at 80% capacity. We also know that the statistics showing the workforce in agriculture is not thriving. It needs to have trained students in agricultural studies, because right now we're looking at the next 10 to 20 years of very low propensity of students that will be agriculturally trained. When this happens, and Mr. Farkas, you can double down, or Mr. Superintendent Van Ayers, when this happens and you give them classes such as growing, irrigating, and harvesting and packing of crops, the animal science behind raising small and large livestock, basic of agricultural. There's about 4 classes and 2 at right now housed at Turkey Creek. When you give these kids workforce opportunities to develop in agriculture, you're giving them 2 things. Number 1, you're giving them credit for 8th grade, and secondly, when they go to high school, be it Durant, be it Strawberry Crest, be it Plant City, you're giving them a dual enrollment situation. The Plant City folks doesn't stop just there, because now we're looking at the Tropicana contest, housing the 4-H club, having the ability to have a space where the business community, the agricultural partners, have a invitation, an invite to be part of the students' lives in agriculture. There is not one person right now that I can find in the Plant City area that is against this particular project. Ms. Fortenberry, Mr. Fortenberry, you've been working on this probably for over 10 years. We have been working, Mr. Farkas and I have been working on it for over 3 years. There has been a concern about funding. We will now have federal funding. We will also, September 3rd, have community partners to help with the funding. So, board members, I know there's a lot to be said, a lot to be asked, but right now, the heartfelt will of the community speaks, not unlike Titus O'Neill. Yes, whenever we had the Big Bullet Foundation, what he did is he listened to the community. He went ahead and said to Sly, those students, I want to do something with you, for you, and help you succeed. So what he did is he invested 9 years of his life to build that community and to build those students' futures. And what we're doing here in Plant City, Trapnell, Seffner, Dover, we are now looking at an agricultural possibility of a workforce that even Nate Kilton said verbatimly he is desperately needing. So I know the hearts and minds out there. I grew up with Earl J. Leonard, who was a big vocational ag, and you know that, Shake. We grew up with the Dickmans. Agriculture is huge, and it is the 3rd largest business in the nation. Plant City is the 1st and most largest distributor of strawberries, of strawberries in the nation. This is very, very applicable. So Superintendent Van Ayers, would you mind adding it to the 5-year plan? Thank you.
So so currently the Turkey Creek Middle School building is not on the work plan as is. You did mention there is a funding request that's out there at the federal level. I think we're still waiting to hear on that request. So there is a funding request that's out there that our lobbyists are working towards. I have no issue adding that to the work plan. I just think, Mr. Porter, from a process point, am I going to need a motion? Or if I could just add it, then the board can then vote on yes or no with it added?
I think we should hear the rest of the board comments, and then we can decide what the best way.
But from my perspective, I have no idea. We are working already around funding around the building, as you mentioned, and you talked about all the partnerships that are happening currently. So adding it to the work plan, our 5-year work plan is something that is brought to the board annually. It's always updated. I have no issue from my end of adding it to there, but I would like to, thank you, Mr. Porter, I would like to hear from the board on their thoughts on adding it to the work plan.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I was so confused while people were coming here to speak about adding something to our 5-year plan that we hadn't talked about at all. So this makes sense. So I appreciate that. I also pulled this item, but I'll kind of pivot from the other questions that I have. While one, I appreciate many points that have been made. I think Plant City is growing. I think the agriculture is a fundamental piece of that. I think our students, I have seen a renewed love towards agriculture from our students that has surprised me. I think it's something that is really important. And I love preserving historical buildings and preservation. That is something that I am passionate about. However, several months ago, we sat here and we talked about Piso, a thriving school that would have taken $10 million to keep it open for the next 10, 15 years, and decided we didn't have enough money, and instead we were going to gut that community, despite the fact that, to Member Gray's point, we had the entire community coming and begging and pleading with us to prioritize and that $10 million so that we wouldn't separate and destroy that community, a functioning, thriving school that we had to be fiscally responsible and could not put $10 million towards keeping that school open and that community together. And as we've sat here through a budget presentation, I understand that capital outlay is somewhat different, and we're going to be talking about renewing our sales tax, and we talked about, thank you to Dr. Hahn, the transgressions we're making from capital outlay to our general fund and what that looks like. But for the financial constraints that we've been under, and to sit here 3 months ago and watch teachers and students sob and beg us to keep a school open, and for us to say we don't financially have that money, we can't prioritize it, and then to just have something added to the 5-year plan because one board member asked for it, I would then like to revisit it and ask that we allot $10 million towards Piso and their rent to keep that school open if we're going to be allowed to have asks on our 5-year facility plan and prioritize that as well. So I'm not sure where we need to go with that as far as a procedural standpoint.
If I could just add, adding something just for clarity, and I do want to hear from the board and what the board's perspective on this, because in the end, the board is the one that's going to vote on the 5-year plan and whether it's approved or not. So with this 5-year plan, as it is, I welcome, our comments from the board to see, what direction we're moving with our 5-year work plan.
I also think before anything would be added to the plan, and you would agree to, I would hope, we would have a complete understanding of exactly financially what that ask looked like. Member Gray says that it's being federally funded, but you're saying it's still in a appropriations request that has not been granted, so that's misleading as far as what the funding is. To add anything to our 5-year facility, I would expect a thorough understanding of what the board would be asked to contribute that before that's even a question.
Yes, ma'am, and know that if this is adding to a plan, it would have to end up coming back to the board as a vote, as a GMP, a guaranteed maximum price, that the board would see as an individual item. This is just a plan moving forward of what the district, our work plan looks like in the next 5 years. So adding it to the plan does not say we're building it. The board would vote on that as an individual GMP when that came forward. So I look forward to hearing more of the discussion, but I appreciate your comment. Thank you.
I think these are great questions, and I think it's important to understand what the 5-year plan is, and at some point Mr. Farkas might want to explain a little bit about it, but I think the superintendent said something very important. Just because something's on the plan doesn't mean it's going to get built. If it's not on the plan, it can't be. So you would have the opportunity then in the future, if it's on the plan, to consider it if you think it's financially feasible.
But it is something we vote on now to prioritize in our plan making.
Well, the superintendent's bringing a recommendation to you with the 5-year plan. He has the power to make a recommendation, and he could add that if he wanted to. I think it's better to hear from the board, though, to see where you all are, though, from a process standpoint. But it would be his recommendation is bringing forward, and you could choose at that point to support it or not. Ms. Gray has every right to ask that that be included. He has every right to include it in his presentation. But the discussion is a good one. But it doesn't mean it will be built, and there would be future further steps that would have to be taken before that happens. It just allows the conversation to continue, which it would not if it wasn't on the 5-year plan.
Gotcha. Thank you for the clarification. I'll wait to see what my fellow board members have to say.
And Ms. Vaughn, we do a traditional reading where you do the first time reading through as a read through. So you see this twice every year. So this is the first time we have it, so we get feedback from the board, which is a traditional way. And as Superintendent Ayers said, depending on the feedback we get back, you'll see this again in October, as you do every single year, which is the final vote on this. But this is the tentative plan to bring to the board for feedback.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Hahn?
Thank you. So 5-year plan, we have 3 schools in year 2, which is Tinker, New Middle School W, and Stewart. And then in year 3, Just. And then in year 5, there's 5 more projects. Some are new builds, some are additions. So where would you put this on the plan, Mr. Superintendent? Year 2, 3, 4, or 5?
Yeah. So I would go ahead, Mr. Farkas.
No, I was going to say it's going to depend on the funding. Exactly the questions that you were asking. When does the congressional ask come through? When do the partner meeting that we have in September at Wish Farms? When does that money look like? And then it'd have to come to the board to do that. So we'd welcome the board feedback, but I don't think we can put it in year 2 because we don't have that funding.
We don't have funding past year 3, correct?
That is correct, because all the things that you described in year 5 are partially funded because those are needs that we've had going forward.
So there's $2 million in the appropriations ask. Is that it, or the?
Let me get Ms. Davis to.
Great question. So we had asked for 3, and it was included in the Housing and Urban Development Bill for $1 million. Is what it was granted for $1 million. So
in the past session.
This is federal right now.
Oh, in the federal session. Right
Yeah.
now. Sorry.
No, you're good.
So it's the feds.
Yeah. That's.
And if Member Gray wouldn't mind, just how much private money is on the table?
Thank you, Member Hahn. Right now, we have a pledge from one particular farm. I don't want to name the others because this is a September 3rd meeting, and we will have that information before the October. We will have the total amount of monies. No doubt that is going to be contributed, but at this time, and correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Farkas, I can't say how much each is giving because we haven't had the pledge meeting
So
yet.
why wouldn't you wait until after you know how much money is pledged before asking to put it on the 5-year plan? It just seems a little cart before the horse. Like, I'd like to know that we've got X number of dollars pledged and we have X number of dollars maybe coming from the feds, and that would really help us determine where this would go on the plan and what projects would have to shift, because if it goes in year 2 or 3, well, Tinker's that's funded by the feds for the most part, but you've got a middle
all those
school.
projects you've already voted on to fund. Yes, ma'am.
Right. So we're looking at 4 or 5.
So, yeah, and Member Hahn, we were going to have that information. This is just to put it at like a placeholder until the October meeting. We'll have the fund.
But I understand that, but I'm just going to go back to, growth is happening and we're responding to it, and I don't mind considering putting it on the plan. I'm not against that, but again, why not just wait till October when you have, a commitment of dollars? Because look, I'm going to be honest. Once it's on the plan, it's going to be very hard to take it off. And maybe there's not going to be, we don't know what the dollar amounts are coming in. So I don't mind considering putting it on the plan in October when we know what the community is going to commit to and what the feds are. But without that, I'm not going to put it on a plan and then have to say in October, now we got to take it off, because I'm going to have 100 people at public comment not wanting it taken off. So that is my concern here. I don't mind putting it on the plan, but I need to know if there is money behind it. And if there's not, that's okay too. But then we have to make some tough decisions on what's on year 5. And so I don't feel like I have enough information to say, yeah, tonight let's put it on the plan, because we don't know what year and we don't know how much financial support we yet have for this. And if there isn't financial support, then we need to make decisions on, okay, where, you know, what needs to be pushed up or down. So I'd love to add it to the plan. I understand the importance, but I just don't think we're in a position tonight anyway. It may be
It's hard to ask for money unless there's a solid way of saying this is an official item on the plan. Because what you're then saying is, you know, if you don't have an official type of statement to give those donors, then what would give them incentive to
the incentive
donate?
is they've all written letters and they want it. So there is an incentive for them to say, we will pledge this match, you know, and in good faith, we're trying to raise money on our end. But I mean, there's no, you know, that's the incentive for them. As an elected official, without that money on the table or money on both sides of the table, I cannot in good faith say to taxpayers, because every dollar belongs to a taxpayer, that I'm going to make this decision without knowing if I have the money to do it. I can't write a blank check, is my point.
Mm-hmm.
And I think in all fairness, if all these folks want this and they're willing to raise some money, they don't have to raise all the money, but a match of some sort. And then we're trying to have a match. Now we have, you know, something to really consider, but I can't write a blank check. I just, not under the circumstances we're in right now with our budget, and we just got done talking about with the loss of $3 million. So, you know, and we just got done with a conversation about, you know, K-8s and having a really good plan before we approve any more K-8s. So that's my concern, is that I'm happy to consider it once we have some more financial information. I think that would be the fiscally responsible thing to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Grums?
Thank you. I mean, I live in an agricultural community, living in the Odessa Keystone area, so I understand the importance of the agricultural community. But I also, you know, for me, there's just no way I can move ahead until I see the fiscal outcome, what we're going to get from the federal government, what people are going to match, what it looks like. I mean, we are going to have to make such hard decisions in the next few years. There's no question about that. Very, very difficult decisions. I look at a school like Alonzo, which is on the 5-year plan, which has the largest band in Hillsborough County Public Schools, and you should see that room when they're going in. There is no space at all. That program, 3,000 students, and it generates so much FTE, and they've been dying for a culinary program for such a long time. So for me, there's some real big needs I have in District 1 that I can't think of, and I really, at the end of the day, I think often about Pizzo Elementary. FTE, 900 students, an established school that's guaranteed, and for that amount of money, I could keep that school open for 20 more years. So I can't make decisions. I've got to make really hard decisions, and I also have to consider about the schools of hope. I have to consider if I go ahead and I redo that entire building, and then a school of hope could come in and say, that's a great facility. I'm going to open up a charter school in this building now. And so I just gave $8 million to that. You know, when you're looking at increasing teacher salaries or the base, it's $3 or $4 million. even though it's not the same, every penny is going to count. That's why it was very hard for me to look at Apollo K through 8 and see another $500,000. I know Carol Wood's going to come in and ask for more soon as well. So we have to continue making decisions that are very difficult. And if I see a school like Alonzo that the FTE is 3,000 students and you can't even bring me a culinary program, I cannot in good faith move forward until I see a full picture of what the federal government's going to give, what it looks like. I also can't sleep at night very well when I think of Pizzo and what that looks like too. So I think everyone's going to fight for their area. And as I said, for me, when I look at Alonzo, when I look at Steinbrenner, even though it's not in District 1, it's right down the road, those kids can't even walk through the hallway. It's so packed in there. And they need another wing. And that's also on the 5-year plan. And that's 2 miles from my house. And those kids can't even get through the hallway, you know, and you should see their agricultural program, which is very thriving out there too. So it's, you know, I just don't think this is the time right now until I get the big picture of the finances. And I apologize for that.
Thank you, Member Combs. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I have never approved the 5-year plan since I have been on the board. I have voted against it every single year, and predominantly because of Plant City, because money is diverted away from where we have overcrowded schools in Plant City. And so I have overcrowded elementary schools. I've got middle schools on the verge. Member Gray mentioned that Turkey Creek is at 80%. Shay or Rick, do you have the exact enrollment numbers right now? Because it was at 75%. Turkey Creek.
I've got it.
So I think that's important because I've had these conversations because Schools of Hope is a real big concern. We could invest $8 million in that building and they would have complete control over it if the student income does not come in. And so if we don't have over 75% capacity adding on these additional rooms, they have first dibs at that school and that building. It doesn't matter what our intentions are. If our school goes below 75%, they have first dibs on that building starting in 2027. So it is a current concern. Is there any way that particular building, because it is a historical building, I would love to see it preserved. I would love to see it. Is there a way that we could do an MOU to an organization that they could preserve it and maintain it and utilize it for what they want to do?
100%. That's actually what we did with the Plant City High School that's in Plant City now, is that we gave it to the city of Plant City or did an MOU and did. So yes, we could do that.
Because the animals currently cannot be moved from where they're currently at. We don't have another area for them to go to. Am I correct?
Yeah, the kids would move. The animals will stay across the street.
So the animals for that program would have to stay where they're at. And we do have other classrooms on the current property they could move to right now, correct?
Yeah, they're at 74% to your question, and they have what we call reservations. The growth is at 79%.
So they're currently at 74, but if we don't see the growth, because right now we don't have their current ratio, but even at 79%, if I add on, I believe it's an additional either 16 or 18 classrooms.
It's 12. But it was 6 of it was going to be upstairs. It was going to be for community use, but it'd be 6 classrooms, 150 student stations. It would put it below 75. You're right.
It would put it then below 75% if we go through there. So I mean, I just want to make sure that we all understand what we're looking at. And like I said, I have voted against this 5-year plan for every year since I have been on the board because we are not looking at where the growth is. We are not putting on there the additional schools. I need a middle school, I need an elementary, and I need a high school. The high school was at 120% capacity last year. And so the dollars are being diverted not to where we even have the growth in our county. So I think we don't even have the elementary school we do have the elementary school for Waimama in 5 years. But in 5 years, and I'm already at 120% capacity at Plant City High School, I can't continue to divert money, but I am all in for options where the community can take hold of that building and utilize it for what they want. I have said that from the beginning. because I do believe that is an important thing to preserve. The Strawberry School is history of Plant City. It is where students would leave to go pick the strawberries. I am all in for letting them take the funding they want to collect and make that, preserve it for what they want to do. But I cannot jeopardize additional funding, because if Hope takes over that building, I now have to pay an average of $2,400 per student that we will get no FTE. So not only would they take over the building, we would then, or could take over larger portions of the school that we refurbished, but we're now taking away additional funding from additional students. So I'm a no-go on this 5-year plan, no matter what we do. I've been a no-go. I'm going to be a no-go because this 5-year plan is never discussed with us ahead of time as far as giving us options, doing a workshop, being creative in it. We all have different needs along the way, and it's not showing the full needs of our community. I'm all up for different options of allowing the community to take hold of that building. I'm all up because, again, I can't jeopardize other students for potential stations that will not be used, because we can't move the animals. I can't move the animals. I can move the kids, but I already have classroom space for those kids. So, and we just spent millions on the complete upgrade of their entire air conditioning system and upgrades to the school, which are necessary for the health and safety of those students that are currently attending. So I've been a no-go every year. I'm going to be a no-go on this plan, and I'm not apt to put something on here that's not going to be a direct need for our students. And I don't see it as a direct need when I have open classroom space. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Member Gray?
Clarification, when is the next approval date? October what?
October 6th.
So I will make a motion that we, in the interest of Member Hahn's comments, putting the cart before the horse, we will have a better understanding, and Kristen Davis, I think it might even mature the conversation to find more of the timeline for the HUD grant. My motion would be to put this forth with the full financials, best as I can do, to the board for their vote, and I guess I need a second.
So I think what you're asking for is that instead of voting tonight on the 5-year plan, you would make a motion to continue it until the October 8th. Are there any issues from your timing standpoint with that? Is there a due date with the state or anything that we have?
There is. It's the October. We have to finalize it, but we have to see it twice. So they have to vote.
It has to be 2 public hearings, but when does it due to the state?
Not to the end of October. So we do that. October date is when we do it. So,
But Mr. Farkas, they couldn't vote if Turkey Creek was not on the plan now. They couldn't then vote on it in October with it on there, right? The plan's got to be the same for both readings, correct?
No, that is not true.
Okay.
We can change it.
We can.
One and reading
Okay,
two.
then her motion
Because
is.
this is the preliminary reading for feedback, and the second reading is the final vote that we actually send up to the state, and it has to be done in October.
Thank you for clarifying that.
So the motion's been had.
So I think the way I understand the motion, again, please correct me if I'm wrong, that you would vote on the plan as is tonight. On October 8th, you would have the opportunity to look at Turkey Creek with all the financials that are available at that point. And if the board's acceptable, if you find that acceptable, you would include it in the plan. If not, then you wouldn't. That would be the motion. So the only thing you'd be voting on tonight is the plan that you see here as is, with the option of, on October 8th, having Turkey Creek added with the financials for your consideration.
Okay.
So there's a motion. I mean, so you should clear the board at this point, and then if there's a, so the motion would be to, on October 8th, when you have your final public hearing, to have Turkey Creek included with whatever financials are available. And then if you want to, if that's satisfactory to the board, you could choose to include it at that time. If not, then you would not. But it would not be put on the plan now for what you're voting on tonight. It would be put on a plan for your consideration. It's still a public hearing that you would have to consider. If
motion puts it on the plan.
on October 8th, not tonight, yes.
It does put it on the plan.
Yes.
If we take this motion.
Yes. Yes.
Does the motion have a second?
No. So clear the board, please. So there's a motion on the floor, and I described it as best I could, and it would require a second before you can have further discussion. I also believe the superintendent wants to speak. He was in the queue.
Oh, I mean, we could finish. We can finish this up.
So,
Second?
yeah, so there's a motion, you need a second before it can go forward.
Okay, is there a second?
So Mr. Washington seconded the motion, so now it's ripe for a vote. Again, it's separate from the main motion, which is to approve the 5-year plan tonight. The effect of this motion would be to have it on the plan for your consideration with financial information available on October 8th. Yes, you should, only on that, not the main one.
Oh, hold on a second. I think,
I'm sorry.
Member Washington, are you going to be making a comment? We didn't make the motion?
Reflects
Okay.
the second, and Dr. Hahn is now up for speech.
Okay, Dr. Hahn?
Thank you, Chair Perez. So it goes back to what I said earlier is I'm not going to agree tonight to put it on the 5-year plan before I see the data. I mean, that just is, I can't believe I have to explain it again, do I? Everyone kind of, okay. Yeah, I mean, again, it would still be like me writing a blank check. Like I made it clear I need to see the financial data before I vote to put it on the plan. I mean, it's just, you're asking us to basically do the same thing, but kick the can down without any information to make that decision. So
Ask is September 3rd, you see, and you would have the information prior.
it doesn't matter. I'm not going to approve to put it on the plan before I see the information. That's what I'm trying to clarify. This motion you made means I have to vote right now to put it on the plan for October's consideration.
Clarification.
That's what my understood. If you have a different wish, then I mean, well, you can't vote for it if it's not on the plan, and you're in a sort of a conundrum because some board members are requesting financial information which is not available yet. If you don't have that, it's not appropriate to vote on it.
You could have the financial information and then in October do what you did tonight.
That's what the motion was. Exactly.
Right, but your motion tonight, I understand, but the way Mr. Porter explained it is that this vote actually puts it on the plan.
But that's not the intent. Okay, so let's back up a little bit. So if the goal is for the board to consider this with all the financial information, Ms. Gray's motion attempted to do that. If it's the consensus or will of the board that you have that financial information for your consideration, then the superintendent and I can find a way to present that to you if you want to go forward with even considering it. And I think that's the intent of our motion.
Yeah, I understand that. I'm just saying I'm not going to put it on the plan tonight for the October until I have that information, which even if I have it in August, that's great. Then I can look it over, and in October, she can bring it to the board for a vote to put on the plan. But
well, then I would suggest withdrawing your motion, and then you can do what you're requesting to do in October at that public hearing. I think you should also hear from the superintendent about this conversation and whether that affects his recommendation.
Yeah, my thing would be with the 5-year plan. Could Ms. Gray do the same thing she did tonight in October and present her findings on the dollars that would be generated for the project and ask at that point in time for it to be added, or is that
The answer is yes.
okay? So that is one option, is you could do the same thing you did tonight, do the same thing in October, bring it forward, present that you want it added to the 5-year plan because of these amount of dollars coming from these different sources. I think that meets Dr. Hahn's request. And then we could, as Mr. Farkas mentioned, we can just add it, in October. Part of what I wanted to say earlier was, just for clarity's sake, the original agenda item that came forward did not have Turkey Creek a part of the plan. That was the superintendent's recommendation that came before the board. Ms. Gray brought up about adding it. We heard discussion, and based on what I hear tonight, there's no appetite to move forward. So I would like to get back at some point to the vote to approve the tentative 5-year plan. But I think what could happen is in October, Ms. Gray, Member Gray, you present your findings on the dollars that are coming in, and then ultimately the board, you'd be put in the same spot again to listen to Ms. Gray and decide if you want to add it, yes or no, and we'll do it the same way again.
So based on that, I would suggest withdrawing the motion, and then you would have the right to bring it back in October.
Okay, clarification. So what I'm trying to do is make sure that in October, to the will of the board, to give a totality as best I can of the finance commitments for their understanding and their comments, then a vote would be had. And that is in honor of Member Hahn's request. I'm sorry it wasn't clear as a bell, but that's as best I can do. And if that is...
I think that explains your intent. So
okay. All right. Thank you.
You would withdraw the motion at this point, or?
Yes, I'll just, yeah.
So the motion is withdrawn. Clear the board again, please. And you're back on the main motion of approving or first public hearing for the 5-year plan. And your comments should be directed at that.
Member Vaughn?
Thank you. So I just have to understand procedurally. When Member Gray first started talking about it, from what I understood, you said we as a board don't need to approve her putting it on there. That was the superintendent's decision, and once added, we had the right to vote yes or no once it was added. Now, from the way that you're explaining it, it sounds like to me in October she would bring the information back with a motion, and then it would be up to the board to decide to add it. So I'm confused procedurally where we're going to be in October, because when first introduced, the way that I understood it is we didn't have to approve that. The superintendent had that ability. So where are we now?
So the superintendent, under the law, brings recommendations to you. What you have in front of you is his recommendation. Ultimately, this board approves it or denies it. You also have the right, by motion and by a majority of the board, to add or subtract from what he's bringing as a recommendation. The board member made a request to have it added. There was discussion that ensued. If that discussion would have compelled the superintendent to change his recommendation, he could have done it on his own, or you could have made a motion. So I think both paths were a way forward for the board with this particular item. So where it's landed is the superintendent is not inclined to include it on his own. He's not inclined to change his recommendation, which is his absolute right under the law. The board still has to vote on it ultimately, and if a board member wants to add or subtract, you would have the right to do that at the second public hearing, and then it will, because the superintendent's not changing his recommendation, so that path is closed off. So you would have to vote, you would have to make a motion and vote to include or add something, which would be your right as a board.
So I just want clarification from you, Superintendent Ayers, that the only way that this would be added in October is if the board voted on it collectively and that vote passed.
Right. I would bring, based on the tentative plan here, the 5-year plan that would brought, pending any adjustments that came from the county or whatever, that the 5-year plan as is would be what is brought to you in October without Turkey Creek there. Ms. Gray at that point in time, so again, superintendent's recommendation, Turkey Creek would not be on the plan in October. Ms. Gray, just like she did tonight, could bring up about her findings, money that's being generated for that project, and make a motion to add it, and the board can then have the discussion. But for clarity, the October 6th agenda item would not include that based on tonight's discussion.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear.
You're voting on item 7.8, the tentative 5-year district facilities plan. 5-year plan.
And it passes with Member Rendon descending from the vote. Now we will take employee and student input. Even though we hear public comment at the beginning of the meeting, it is sometimes difficult for employees and students of our district to attend meetings at 4 p.m. There are many ways for employees and students to make their voices heard, including through union representatives, emails, phone calls, one-on-one conversations, and public comment at the beginning of the meeting. The board wants to hear from you. With this section of our agenda, we are creating another avenue for employees and students to speak to the board. We are setting aside 30 minutes for employees of the district to speak to the board about any issues that are on your mind. This is not intended to be a discussion about specific agenda items on tonight's agenda, but rather an opportunity for you to speak to the board about any issues related to your job or district. Each speaker will have 3 minutes. I will now call the first 5 speakers. Hi, Rob.
Hey, greetings, everyone. Good afternoon, board members, Superintendent Ayers. Thank you all for everything going on. You know, we opened bargaining, and our bargaining team was very clear that we were committed to making sure that we could find an agreement, a tentative agreement around the TSIA money, so that way we can keep Tallahassee from getting involved in our collective bargaining. And your team is also equally committed to that. And I'm proud to say that we were able to collaborate and really work hard yesterday to get that done. So it is a real credit to both our bargaining team, and we have some members here today, and you know, the district's bargaining team. So thank you all for that. And as I hear a lot talking about money, you know, I'm often here talking about money, specifically for the employees that desperately need more money to do the great work for our kids. That's not what I'm here about today. As we get into bargaining, you know, there are many items that we've asked for that actually do not cost the district any money. And these are things that, as we now have a tentative agreement on those TSIA funds, that we really want to talk a little bit about. So I'll just ask a couple of like rhetorical questions, as I might, like, did you know? Did you know that some districts in the state of Florida do not even have their employees work a full 8-hour day? Did you know that many districts in Florida have 8-hour school days for their employees? Did you know that we're the only district in the state of Florida, maybe in the country, that actually has our employees work more than a 40-hour work week, at least our instructional staff? They actually require to work a 40-hour, 25-minute work week, which is absurd. That's one thing. And did you also know that our employees are given and afforded in the contract a 30-minute duty-free lunch? Did you also know that most of our employees don't get a 30-minute duty-free lunch every single day because they're meeting the needs of kids? And I promise you that the week when the kids come back, no one's getting a 30-minute duty-free lunch. I promise you that. Did you also know that in my time doing this job, never has a member ever come to me and asked to file a grievance about not getting that 30-minute duty-free lunch? They know that they're doing the work for kids. Did you also know that many schools require only a 30-minute lunch for teachers during pre-planning, the times when they're getting ready for the school year? One of the things we've asked for at the table is to make sure that our employees could be afforded a 1-hour lunch, like I would call it normal people, and they are normal people doing an abnormal job, and they're doing a really good job at that. But I think that we could find it where it doesn't cost any money to allow these employees to have a 1-hour lunch during their pre-planning while they're preparing their school year. So please consider these things as they're brought to you, because we're trying to be creative and collaborate with you guys on these things. So I'm going to let these other employees speak a little bit about what's going on, but thank you all so much about what you're doing.
Thank
you. We all want an hour lunch, right? I think so. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
This is never quite tall enough for me. Good evening, members of the school board and Superintendent Ayers. My name's David Wagner, and I teach orchestra and choir at Alonzo High School. I will say that I didn't come here tonight to talk about the proposed addition to Alonzo High School, but Mrs. Combs, thank you very much for advocating for our needs there. I heartily second everything you said. In the past, I've spoken to you all about a variety of things, mostly concerning instructional contract negotiations. And while I fully support what Rob just said and HCTA's position in this year's ongoing negotiations, and I continue to be grateful for the impact that the millage and instructional supplements have made for me in my own life, I wanted to speak to you about something a little more mundane that has nonetheless had an impact and presented a bit of an issue for myself and my students and the opportunities that I can give them in the last year. That is field trip paperwork. I told you it would be mundane. It's mundane. The volume of paperwork required to take students on both in-county and out-of-county field trips has gotten to the point where it's prohibitive for teachers whose classes take lots of trips, even with the pre-approved trips, with the paperwork required at sites for those trips. I took students off campus 19 times this last year. I teach choir and orchestra. So those events range from recruiting trips to our middle schools to all-state and all-county music auditions and events, an orchestra trip to perform at Festival Disney, and taking our symphony orchestra to perform at Alonzo's graduation. That amount of paperwork becomes overwhelming when you're dealing with that many trips, and I know I'm not the only teacher or coach or staff member dealing with that. And I was unable to plan another 2 or 3 trips that I had hoped to take my students on to see Florida Orchestra and Opera Tampa performances, because when I would have needed to put in the paperwork, things were too busy for me to juggle trips number 20 and 21. on top of course, everything that I'm doing day to day as an instructor, as a teacher, and administering 2 large performing arts programs. Ultimately, the effect of that is to limit the additional opportunities I can create for my students. So as much as reasonably possible, I would ask the board to streamline the field trip paperwork requirements to allow myself and my colleagues to offer our students more opportunities for enrichment, realizing there are very good reasons for a lot of what's required, student safety being probably at the top of the list. I would ask you all to streamline that as much as possible so I can do more for my students. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Next speaker.
Hi, good evening. I'm Nancy Romero. I'm a speech language pathologist at Yates Elementary School. I spoke a couple years ago. This is my 8th year starting with the district, and prior to that I was in Albuquerque Public Schools for 18 years. So all of my day-to-day, year-to-year work is in public schools. Any of us, whether we're here today, we're watching from home, we're preparing for, Friday's back-to-school events, we could be in skilled nursing facilities. We could be in private practice, our own private practice. We could be in hospitals, rehabs, wherever. Home health, we could be doing all that, but we choose the schools. We choose to work and continue to work for you, for consistency for the students. I do want to say that for years our profession has been misunderstood. We have broader expertise than just remediating R's and fixing Wabbit to Rabbit. We have assistive technology, we have bilingual, we have sign language, we have feeding, we have students on trachs, pictures, voice output communication systems, eye gaze. It runs the gamut. We support academics, social emotional development, independent functioning, and also mention the safe swallowing for a variety of needs of our students on campus. Our responsibilities extend far beyond providing therapy. We are many times counselors to parents. As speech language pathologists, a lot of times we are the first ones that parents see, and they think it's just a speech language. If my kid could just talk, but there's so much more. And so we hold their hands, we walk with them, we cry with them, we give them resources. We conduct and write evaluations, we conduct the evaluation plans, we meet with the families, we complete paperwork, we scan documents, we upload it here and upload it there and print it here and print it there. And it doesn't matter how many times the parents need another copy emailed. It's just, let me grab my computer, I'm right there. Now I do want to talk about being a parent of a child with special needs. My daughter goes to Bloomingdale. She is in the Access program. We have known since she was 2 that she was significantly delayed. I am so grateful and so thankful for the veteran teachers, psychologists, speech language pathologists, social workers, occupational PTs that have poured into her, because she wouldn't be where she is going into her senior year had it not been for those seasoned veteran staff members. We all start out, but if we don't pour, we are the ones pouring into the new teachers, new therapists coming, and if we're not here to do that, to encourage them, it's okay, just stay, you can do this, you can make it, it's a great job at the end, stay with us. We're not going to have the turnout for our students, ESE, Gen Ed, gifted, bilingual, whatever it is. We're not going to have the growth that we see, that I see in my child from.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hello, and thank you for taking the time to listen and act in the best interest of those you represent. I'm Josie Monjovi, a 29-year Hillsborough County School veteran and dedicated speech-language pathologist. I am here to request your assistance in securing a win this school year for our SLPs. Fair compensation for SLPs is not just a matter of equity, it is a matter of retention and recruitment. To attract and retain top talent in this field, Hillsborough County Public Schools must offer a competitive compensation package that reflects the value you place on our skills and expertise. Our current and future compensation and retention policies have failed to reflect the importance of our work, leading to hurdles that have been difficult to overcome. This year's district proposal is to penalize SLPs by the removal of our licensure and certification supplement and a reduction of the ESE supplement for a loss of $2,750 annually. In bargaining meetings with the district, we have presented data and information about the short-term resolution the district has adopted, which is to fill vacancies in our district by hiring SLPs through contract agencies. Currently, we have almost 100 site-based positions filled with contract SLPs, which is 1/3 of our SLP positions. Last year, HCPS spent $10.5 million on SLP contract services to cover vacancies in our district. Why are districts willing to pay contract fees for the exact same professionals? Why not compensate the SLPs that we currently have to keep them, to recruit them? HCPS's recruitment and retention efforts simply have not been enough. Currently, HCPS is rated number 46 in pay for SLPs in the state of Florida. Hillsborough County is the 3rd largest school district in Florida based on student enrollment. However, out of the 10 largest school districts in Florida, HCPS is the last in compensation to our SLPs. Let's deal with the number one issue impacting SLP vacancies in this county, its salary. As we consider the critical role that SLPs play in our educational system, we must acknowledge that our compensation should reflect our significance of our contributions. By investing in our compensation, you not only show how you value our tireless efforts, but also demonstrate your commitment to providing the best possible therapy services and education for all students in Hillsborough County Public Schools. Investing in the recruitment and retention of SLPs is not just a financial decision, it's a moral imperative. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker.
Hi, my name is Leslie Adams. I have proudly served as a speech language pathologist in Hillsborough County for the past 25 years. Sorry, it's a little short for me. 2 years ago, a group of SLPs, we stood before the board to address our critical staffing shortage. As a result of that advocacy, the district created a modest stipend for nationally certified SLPs that are certified through ASHA, the American Speech Language Hearing Association. That investment helped increase our district hires. Currently, both the $1,500 ASHA certification stipend and the $750 licensure stipend, which helps address the critical shortage of SLPs as well as offset the mandatory cost of maintaining our state and national licenses, have been removed from the bargaining proposal. Why does this matter? Because, again, Hillsborough ranks number 46 in compensation in Florida for SLPs. Many districts place SLPs on a Master's Plus 30 specialist salary schedule because our profession requires more than 60 graduate credits and an additional 9 months supervised clinical fellowship. ASHA certification supplements in other districts range from $1,500, which is where we are, to $13,000. Neighboring districts such as Pasco, $3,400, Pinellas, $5,280, and Polk at $5,200 all provide significantly higher ASHA supplements for SLPs, as well as additional critical shortage and higher advanced degree incentives. The result is exactly what you would expect. Qualified SLPs leave Hillsborough for neighboring districts. Contract positions pay more than $65 an hour, or other settings altogether. Meanwhile, the district proposes eliminating stipends, totaling about $600,000 annually, while spending nearly $8 million above the cost of employing district SLPs each year for nearly 100 out of 280 units. The district pays contract agencies approximately $100 an hour, while district employed SLPs average about $40 an hour. Is an $8 million solution to a $600,000 problem fiscally responsible? Contractors provide important coverage, but coverage is not the same as continuity. District employed SLPs build lasting relationships with students, families, teachers, schools that improve collaboration, consistency, and student outcomes. We respectfully ask that you preserve the licensure and ASHA certification stipends and to consider placing SLPs on a Master's Plus 30 or specialist salary schedule that reflects the education and expertise our profession requires. If we truly believe in Hillsboro's vision is preparing students for life, then we must invest in the professionals who make that vision possible. Thank you.
Thank you. See no further comments. Return to item 7.9, revisions to the interlocal agreements for school facilities planning, sitting and concurrency between School Board of Hillsborough County, Hillsborough County City County Planning Commission, and the cities of Tampa, Temple Terrace, and Plant City. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Florida statute requires coordination between school boards and local governing bodies regarding public educational facility planning, school siting, land use planning, and school concurrency. The school board has previously entered into interlocal agreements with the cities of Tampa, Temple Terrace, and Plant City to comply with these statutory requirements. The updated agreements modernize coordination procedures related to student enrollment projections, development review, infrastructure planning, and future school facility needs while maintaining compliance with those Florida statutory requirements. These agreements support long-range planning efforts to help ensure that adequate school facilities are available to serve existing and future students as residential growth continues throughout Hillsborough County. The revisions do not substantially change the overall coordination responsibilities among the parties, but instead clarify and improve existing planning, communication, and concurrency implementation processes.
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. I need a motion and a second to approve item D 7.9. I have a motion by Member Hahn and a second by Member Combs. Member Gray, Member Rendon, Member Vaughn, and Member Combs pull this item. Do you have questions or comments, Member Combs? Member Gray?
Okie dokie. Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, I'm looking at this, and I appreciate Mr. Farkas, the details. And in a summation, it just looks to me, since we do this every year, that we added the cities of Tampa, Temple Terrace, and Plant City to the agreement. Is that correct?
We do them every year. We've tried to make the language more similar. So now those cities you just described now have the very similar language to what the county has. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and then, so this allows, the benefits are the early coordination of school sites, better sharing of growth and development information, clearer school siting and review procedures, expanded infrastructure coordination, and a more efficient review process. Perhaps you'd like to expand on that particular bullet.
I don't have to. If you're going to say that, Ms. Gray, you actually hit it right on the head. Honestly, that's what it is. It's not about funding. It's about how we get through the process. We cite a school, we do middle school, VV or Morgan, things like that. The county or the city, wherever, depending on Rick Lott Technical College out in Plant City, they have to approve where we put that. And so we try to make sure that it works for both parties, for the city, each of those city entities, and for our growth management and planning department. So it does exactly that. It talks early on what we're going to do for planning. When we buy property, like we bought the properties this board has out in Plant City, we already start that process with Plant City so they know where we put schools, what types of schools we're going to put there, so they can coordinate infrastructure needs as we go through with that. Again, unfortunately, they're very similar to us. They don't have enough money to do what they need to do as well, but this helps them when they prioritize projects and get done. And we spent a lot of time talking about Morgan and getting those sidewalks and the street and the water and all the things that went down to that part with a lot of help from board members, making sure that happened. So we want to make sure that whatever we can do to coordinate that earlier makes it easier for both sides.
You know, it's interesting. I know the analogy is not crystal clear, but there is an analogy. When we had the TPO meeting, and I think I shared with you, we decided to add to the Hillsborough County the Pinellas and Pasco, just for really making sure that communication, that oversight, and fundamental relationship building, so they know what's going on. We all know, we're all on the same page. The question that I have with that relationship is, this does not give us any funding advantages, because that's where the TPO would detour. They will get perhaps more funding from the state or federal.
No, quite the opposite. Zero. It actually requires us to make sure we jump through the hoops and pay for the things we need to that are affected by our growth. So no, it doesn't. There's no funding tied to it at all.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Farkas.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. These are big deals, our interlocal agreements. Previously, when we had just even a slight change to the city of Tampa, we had lengthy discussions about them, and I think we even had a workshop on it. So previous to any agenda like this coming to us, similar to what David provided for me after I asked for it, that really went more in depth about what the changes are, I would like that going forward, and more of an opportunity to talk about it and ask questions, because similar to the code of conduct, which I'll talk about later, I feel that when some of these things are rushed, things slip through, and then, we get a lot of feedback and it's too late. So going forward on something that's as big as this, is this 5 city interlocal agreements?
4, yes, ma'am.
Because we already did Tampa, 4 city interlocal agreements. We should have like a thorough discussion and understand these changes, because these are commitments we're making and agreements that we're making with the city. I mean, we see almost on every agenda item an easement request or something where we're working in collaboration with the cities. And for me to approve something like this going forward, I need much more information previous to the vote. So I just wanted to note that.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I coincide with Member Vaughn. At the end of the day, these interlocal agreements are committing us, and like we just talked about with Apollo Beach, right? I had to vote yes on that because we committed to those students, and so because we committed to those students based upon our needs of the county, I'm now locked into $5 million. So this is what this does, and we really need a better detail of that. So I think as we move forward for next year, definitely need to see the old and the new, and what are the changes, and then what potential cost, not cost, how does that work with easements? I know from a county standpoint, the numbers we get of the new infrastructure are always less than what we actually see in our schools, and I don't see anything in here that's adjusting that for them to make adjustments, because we're planning for the numbers they give us, and yet we're getting more students than they told us we're getting. It's evident, and so, but we keep committing, and so I would like to see more of that. These agreements really are, I don't see them in our favor as much as I see them in their favor. They like us to pay, but yet they keep wanting us to give, they want to give less, we're paying more, and I have a problem with that. I have a clear problem with that. They blame us for traffic, but yet they don't want to give us easements, they want us to pay for things, and so I'm stuck with an agenda item that I have absolutely no choice than to vote yes, because I can't move forward with the business of the school district without saying yes, but yet I don't see the negotiation in this. And I think that's fair that the board should see the negotiation in this.
I hear the board members loud and clear, have not heard it in interlocal agreements before. I promise you, we spend months on this. And
now, I think you've heard it.
No, we've talked about it, but there's also some things that you're talking about that aren't in this interlocal agreement. But that being said, I'll be more than happy to spend as much time with any of you and bring Michelle Orton and her team along to talk about this stuff in and out. It is intricate, and I have no problem with doing that, and I want to make sure the board feels prepared for that, and we can have an opt-in conversation if you want to be part of it. If you don't care about it, we'll be happy to do that too. But honestly, I want to make sure that we inform you, so I will be more than happy to spend that much time to go over each of those changes that happen with each of the districts. A lot of it's dictated, and this is Mr. Porter's area of expertise, so feel free to jump in that area too. But a lot of it's dictated by statute, not necessarily by negotiation of what we can and can't do.
So it might be a good point for me to jump in at this point too. So this agenda item stems from a law that's about 30 years old, and it really requires school districts and local governments to work together. The local governments are supposedly experts in their comprehensive plans and what's appropriate, and we're supposedly experts in where schools are needed. Prior to 1995 or 96, when this law went into effect, it was sort of chaotic, and the Hillsborough County School District was guilty as any, and they would just put up schools. Durant's a good example of not really being thoughtful about comprehensive planning. So the essence of this agenda item is to make sure there's coordination. There's not a ton of negotiating that's even possible, but I think it might be helpful for Mr. Farkas or even me to spend some more time with each of you individually so you understand what it's about. But the essential reason that this agenda item is here is to make sure schools are located in places where the county or the cities are able to provide the necessary infrastructure around it. Doesn't work perfectly, but it's an effort to sort of have coordination. But I think if it's something the board's interested in, we can definitely spend more time with you on it.
Well, because I think it does make sense at the end of the day, we aren't seeing the infrastructure pick up where we're putting it schools right now. So 30 years ago, it was a different ballgame. But in 2026, they are removing funding they were giving us for infrastructure under the CIT. They remove it, make it less, and yet they're not giving us an infrastructure. I mean, we can see that in the last school we built, it was a work to get the infrastructure we needed around that school in that community to be successful with that school. So I do think there's a changing time, and maybe that legislation needs some looked at. But as a board, we should be collectively have a little bit more knowledge on it, just not a rubber stamp, because we seem to be taking what we're given instead of really being educated on what we can do to change something.
I think you raise excellent points, and I think it's a timely comment, especially what's happened over the past few years with the amount of growth, especially in unincorporated Hillsborough County, and what that does to the school district. So I think it's a very timely point, and I think it'd be an opportunity to really help educate the board on it and take feedback about maybe ways to make it better.
Thank you.
Thank you. Seeing no further questions or comments, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. Next item is 7.13. Facilities use agreed between the School Board of Hillsborough County and Brandon Sports and Aquatic Center Incorporated, doing business as High Five Incorporated. Superintendent Ayers will highlight this item.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This agreement allows High Five to provide adult day training services for adults with special needs at Eisenhower Middle School. The partnership supports life skills development, social and recreational activities, and community-based services for individuals with disabilities while utilizing available district space. High Five will be responsible for operational costs through a facility use agreement and incentive payment structure that helps offset utility and facility expenses for the district. The agreement includes district protections related to insurance, security screening under the Jessica Lunsford Act, supervision requirements, and the district's ability to terminate or modify facility use if needed for school operations. And that is our last agenda item, 713.
Superintendent Ayers, if you don't mind if I can add on to that, an important part for the board is they are going into the space that Eisenhower Exceptional Center was in, that has been dispersed of the students that are there. It is, while it's listed as Eisenhower School because it's still on that property, it's actually a separate entity. There's a separate entrance. There's a separate place. The students are not commingled in that area too. So just from a board perspective, they will have a different office area and a different place to have that. I think it's important to do that because it's listed as Eisenhower Middle, but it's actually Eisenhower Exceptional Center, which is right next door to Eisenhower. Thank you, Superintendent.
Thank you, Mr. Farkas. I need a motion and a second to approve item D, 713. I have a motion by Member Gray and a second by Member Washington. Member Vaughn and Member Combs, you pulled this item. Do you have any questions or comments?
Who are you asking first?
Anyone.
I'll go first.
Member
I don't have any
Vaughn.
questions. I got them answered. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Vaughn. Member Combs?
Thank you. I didn't really get mine answered as much as I just had a comment. You know, I just think it's really important, you know, partnerships with different program and organizations. This is a great organization, but we have to just continue to be consistent when we are. You know, I know a while back there was an agenda item where we were looking at possibly not charging. I want to make sure we're consistent, and you know how I am. I always want to get any dollar that we can get, anything that we can charge. We want to have partnerships, but it's really important that we're charging and we're consistent, because right now, as you can see, like every single problem that's coming up here and everybody that's talking about it, if you gave people more money, they would be happy. If you get the SLPs more money, if you gave the building, whatever it is, almost all the issues that we're having right now is financially challenges. So I just want to make sure that we're consistent, that when we're charging different nonprofits and profits, that we're charging them consistently across. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Member Combs. Seeing no further comments or questions, please vote when your lights appear. And it passes unanimously. We will now move into superintendent's comments. Superintendent Ayers?
All right, we finally made it through those facilities items. We're done with the number 7s, so we can move on. So my superintendent's update this evening. On Saturday, school board members, cabinet members, and staff took part in the Bullard Family Foundation Back to School Bash backpack build. They helped fill 30,000 backpacks with school supplies. These backpacks will be distributed at the Back to School Bash on August the 8th at Raymond James. We thank Thaddeus Bullard for his support of our schools and families. And I think Dr. Hahn, Ms. Rendon, Ms. Gray, I was not there, but I did hear that our team won, number one. Every year they won. Yeah, Miss McCrae said it was all because of her, but I don't. Yeah, I know. I did see the video that our comms team put together, and I saw Mr. Farkas and Miss McCrae dancing. I was like, the first time I've seen the two of them dancing. So we got
My hands are still arthritic because of all the needling we had to do. Yeah, it's like.
So yeah, thank you. Mr. Bullard is obviously a tremendous supporter of HCPS, and I'm sure all of you will be there at Raymond James in a couple of weeks giving out those backpacks. So thank everybody, our board members that were there participating in that backpack build. Here we go again, but just a new location. You all remember our 19th annual Back to School Fair. This time it's a new location. It's been at West Shore Mall for all those years. Now it'll be at Citrus Park. Citrus Park Town Center. So we're excited to to be the presenting sponsor again for this with Tampa Bay Parenting Magazine. The fair will take place at Citrus Park Town Center Plaza on Saturday, August 1st from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. There'll be live entertainment, activities, workshop speakers, and 50-plus vendors offering valuable back-to-school information. And I know summer graduations were just last Wednesday, and I got the numbers from Dr. Graves. We had 301 graduates between Alonzo and Plant City High School. So I heard the ceremonies were fantastic over at those two schools. We consolidated now from 3 locations to 2, and I did get a lot of positive feedback. I was a lot better and so 301 graduates that completed. So kudos to those students that persevered, got their diploma, met those requirements, and graduated. So congratulations to all of our students. And then it was wonderful to see our principals. So this is always kind of our big back to school event. So we know that basically all of our employees will be back this Friday as we welcome all of our teachers back, and that's pretty much our full on board, and all of our employees are back. But our big day for us is with our joint principals as we kick off before our teachers get there. It's our joint principal meeting, what we've done for a long time. A lot of history here in our school district of really the kickoff of the next school year. It was wonderful to see our principals and district administrators last Thursday at Chamberlain for our annual joint meeting. I do want to thank our principal over at Chamberlain, Jocelyn Maroon Hart, and her team for hosting us. We celebrated our A district-wide grade and highlighted the incredible gains that took place during this past school year and things to focus on as we head into the 26-27 school year. I'm so incredibly grateful for all of our school administrators and district leaders for the dedication and passion they bring to our school district. We had a little fun with this, and we had our Oscars for all of our top-performing schools, and we had Ms. McCrae, Mr. Farkas, Dr. Graves, and Dr. Whalen as some of our Oscar presenters for awards. So a good time to be had for everyone there and our schools that received awards. But that's kind of our big kickoff back to school for all of our employees. And this Friday we'll have everybody back. And I know board members, a lot of you will be out at school sites welcoming a lot of our new teachers back. My team will be out everywhere. Our regional soups will be out. And just teachers, if you're listening, we welcome you back. Can't wait to have you back this Friday. And some really neat news. So this is something we don't hear enough about, but this is really a positive for our school district. So our back to school forms are now available through HCPS Focus Parent Portal. So starting today, you ready for this? So starting today, families can complete all required new school year forms online before the first day of school. So if you think back, remember back the days of homeroom and passing out all those forms, waiting to get back. So this Focus Parent Portal is your one-stop location to complete required back-to-school forms, view student schedules, view report cards, view bus information, and I know you guys have been waiting for this one, is to register new students to HCPS. So we just sent an email out to our families today, and in the first first 30 minutes, we had over 2,700 families submitting forms already. So back to school forms, within 30 minutes, 2,700. And just before I started this meeting, it's now up to almost 9,000 families have submitted forms. So back to school forms can be submitted online. Really a big positive for our school district to have focus, and thank you to our board as we push for our new SIS platform. It's going to allow us to do a lot of neat things like this and push us into the next century with technology. So welcome back to school. Back one. We are excited to welcome back our teachers and remaining staff, as I mentioned, from summer break this Friday, July 31st. We hope you had a wonderful summer break and look forward to welcoming our students back to school on Monday, August the 10th. So that's our first day, August 10th. And then board members, while we are welcoming back some staff members, tonight is Pablo's last meeting with us. So his last day, his last board meeting, his last day is Friday. So I just want to take a minute and congratulate him on his upcoming retirement. Thank him for all his technical expertise. We're all going to miss Pablo so much. And so Pablo, we just did get these in. These are our superintendent's coin for our school district of when you go above and beyond. And I know board members, you would agree. It's every Tuesday. He's always here giving support to all of us. So Pablo, we're going to miss you tremendously, and we wish you the best of luck in your retirement. We'll miss you. Madam Chair, those are my comments.
Thank you. I don't think he's going to miss us harassing him for our meetings, though.
That's it. I'll get more.
I love it. We will move into board member comments. Board members, just a reminder, you have 5 minutes each to speak, 30 seconds for final thoughts. Member Gray?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Pablo, do you have my first video? Let's see. Aha. You know, this is a girl, Tina Young from the Lynx, who every year puts together huge health fairs in areas of high needs, which is Leonard South Shore campus. We had the USF nurses, the doctors, University of Tampa, giving immunizations, giving free eye exams, giving free physicals. And within an hour that I was there was over 152 families. The need is huge. The need is huge. So it was just my pleasure, and thank you, Tina, as always, for from the Lynx from doing this, and your wonderful team. The other big excitement, and Sheikh, I want you part of this. We had our Mr. Brady, our gains in social studies, which were huge gains. And I did the chart like I was supposed to compare 2026 to 2025. So I did all that. But I want to first start out by saying, first and foremost, I want to thank our African American Task Force. The commitment of Sheikh Washington has been very, very strong. Fred Hearns with his Thurgood Marshall Club, which we now have over 140-something Thurgood Marshall clubs. I want to especially thank Dr. Andrea Beverly, who headed the HAPSI Brain Bowl with over 189 schools participating. And I know that Member Vaughn is reminded that her son participated as well. These scores, though, will show and share what happens when students know and study and take pride in their cultural beginnings and their leaders. What happens to these kids? The absolute fruition is the points, the graduation rates, their test scores went up. Example, and Sheikh helped me out, in social studies, from 2022 to 25, we were hovering around 52 to 59, and now we are raised to 64 points. And then the accelerated, and thank you, Jazia Leniger, wherever you are, and her team, they raised last year's the participation to 70, from 73 to 78 of the accelerated learners. And then, Superintendent Van Ayers, you know your graduation rate went up. So there, the black communities, the kids, from 80% to 87% of graduates. what is going on when we pay attention to the needs, the educational and psychological, emotional needs of our students. They gain and they give a lot of results for our testing. I want to thank, again, Member Washington, his complete oversight, Mr. Brady, our social studies supervisors, Kelly Brennan, and I think Marie Rogers, she's retired. I don't know if she's retired, right, Gary? Yeah. Jazia Lenegar, our accelerated team, and most important, most magnificent leader, and Kingshire, you're right there before, but Dr. Andrea Beverly, who leads HAPC. She is to be commended and recognized, and she's going to go at it again. We also now go to state level. Mr. Brady, can you tell me we did have Strawberry Crest, Robinson. Tell me about the state level competition. Strawberry Crest, I believe, won, right?
Yes, and that was our FEF competition. So we're planning on doing that again. Obviously, get some more teams. I wouldn't say it was last minute, but to kind of get to their, get all the paperwork in. We were kind of at the end last time, so there's a lot of schools that are interested in participating this year. So we went to the state competition, didn't do as well as we had hoped, but we're excited about next year. Yeah, this is our first time. It was online, and it was a whole new experience for us, but it was great, yeah.
It was, and Superintendent Van Ayers, you can know that Mr. Brady is a competitor. So just so you know, he's going to. We're gonna really get involved in that. Last, we talk about Titus O'Neill, Thaddeus Bullard, the foundation, the greatness. You know what happens when you stand the test of time, when you do something of a give for 9 years. Not only the wonderful economic value of filled backpacks, but the heart and the mind that he has given, his devotion to this school district is unmatched. If it was just a one-off or a two-off, that's one thing. But he's getting better. Look at all these volunteers. They're all there, and they had to be on time or else. But I just want to thank Thaddeus Bullard, his foundation, of course, Member Rendon and Stacy Hahn, for being on board, and all those volunteers, and what a magnificent leader that we have to put together this big backpack giveaway coming up in a few weeks. Thank you. That's my remarks.
Thank you, Member Gray. Member Hahn? Okay. Member Vaughn? Member Hahn?
Chair Perez. I want to echo Member Gray's comments about Thaddeus Bullard and the Bullard Family Foundation. It's always a great event. I've gone every year to the big backpack builds, but yes, Saturday we had over 250 volunteers. Mr. Farkas is on the Bullard Family Foundation board. Just an enormous amount of community support, from different businesses and organizations that were there, but they also continue to support those efforts all year long. So it's not a one and done day for all of those community partners. They're pouring in their resources. And Thad is pouring his heart into that school. It is a B school. So big congratulations for that. And that wouldn't have happened with one, obviously, our employees at the school, the leadership, the principal at the school, but how the community has poured into that school. It's quite unique and probably a national example of what a community school really looks like at that level is, a national example. But we have a video, so I don't need to talk anymore.
What's up, everyone? Thaddeus Bullard, a.k.a. WWE legend Titus O'Neill, here on the campus of the Thaddeus and Bullard Academy at Sly Middle Magnet School, where we are, for the 9th year in a row, packing our 30,000 backpacks that we will be distributing on August 8th at our back-to-school bash at Raymond James Stadium. And we got 250 volunteers have come together to make sure that our students and our families have everything they need to be successful. Like I say, every year it gets bigger and bigger. To have over 200 yesterday packing backpacks and then have another 250 today. We'll have close to 400 on the day of the event. it means a lot. It means that a lot of people are investing their time, investing their talent, and investing their resources to make sure that our students continue to strive and grow and strive for excellence. Great momentum, a great accomplishment for everyone involved, all of our teachers, all of our staff, all of our families, our supporters, and our volunteers throughout the district. So let's get ready to have a great 26-27 year, and I look forward to seeing everyone at Raymond James Stadium on August 8th.
Yeah, it was a phenomenal day. They always make it so.
What's up, everyone? Thaddeus Bullard, a.k.a. W.
Makes it so much fun with the music and it's just a joyous event. So thank you, Thad. Love my dear friend. Love Fong, who runs his foundation. She works so hard to make these events come off, which look like they're seamless, but behind the scenes, it's so much work. So thank you so much from the bottom of all our hearts for everything you do for our school district and our community. It was a great day, and I look forward to handing those backpacks out. Is it 2 Saturdays? Yeah, 2 Saturdays. So that's going to be another fun day. So I look forward to sharing more about that. Thanks.
Thank you, Member Hahn. Member Vaughn?
Thank you, Madam Chair. First of all, as a parent who's looking at school supplies, I don't think people realize how needed that is right now, because the school supplies are astronomical. I mean, a 1-inch binder is $6, $7 for one binder. I can't even tell you. I'm literally sewing up my son's backpack from last year because it's ridiculous. So thank you for that. A couple questions, and then something else I want to add. One, with those forms that have gone online with Canvas now, with our electronic signature, is that readily available right now for those forms we've said we want to require a parental signature for? Or Focus. Thank you, Dr. Whalen. Focus.
So yes, they are. You want to add?
Yeah, they have. In fact, we put it online. I think we already had this in your comments, but they've already done 7,800 forms in the first 4 hours it was open.
But the ones that required signatures that they received approval for, remember we've talked about several of those? Okay, so that piece has been up. Also, who houses our field trip forms? From the speaker who came earlier and had questions about that, who makes those decisions?
So it all depends on what type of field trip it is.
Okay.
We have some that are predetermined CTE field trips that are through that thing. They're held at the school site for the principal to take care of. Usually at APA, at a high school, handles most of those things. If it's a water field trip or an out-of-county field trip, it also goes through our safety and risk management department.
So I'll talk to you about it?
Yes, 100% would talk to that part of it too. We can have a long conversation about that. We could probably do 3 workshops on what that is and the risk management that goes along with field trips. That are wonderful opportunities for our kids, but they're also making sure that limit exposure to the board. But yes.
I just want to know. I should talk to you. Okay. And then finally, I was kind of on the fence of whether I was going to do this or not, but since we had something similar like this earlier in the evening. You know, we passed the student code of conduct. There were some questions about it. I was concerned that it was rushed. I highlighted some of the issues that I had concerns with. But since then, we've gotten an onslaught of emails regarding the leggings policy. That was a piece of it. And after reading and speaking to so many families about that, I do agree with the emails that we got, that tends to be discriminatory towards women. There are boys who are wearing extremely tight clothing, whether it's athletic, whether it's skinny jeans, if those are still popular. And I think that I think it's important to be responsive to the public when we get these things. I know you worked with a portion of the public for a good portion of that, Dr. Grays, and I appreciate it, but I think this is a misstep and something that, as we talk about how important it is to make sure that we're recruiting and meeting our families' needs for every single dollar of every student that chooses our schools, being responsive to the community is important. And so I wanted to make a motion. I move that we ask the superintendent to place the student code of conduct on the next board meeting agenda to amend the dress code provisions to allow students to wear leggings to school. So that's it. If I've got a second.
So if you could please clear the board. So Ms. Vaughn has made a motion to bring a future agenda item back regarding the student code of conduct. In order to discuss it, your motion would require a second. And you're not voting on this tonight. You'd vote on bringing it back to a future board meeting. So Member Rendon has seconded the motion. So if you could again clear the board. It's now, Madam Chair, this motion is on the floor for discussion about bringing to the next meeting or a future meeting an amendment to the student code of conduct to allow leggings.
Member Gray?
I popped up with a comment real quick because we did get a lot of letters. I think too, Member Vaughn, I appreciate the motion, and I understand the value of women's clothing, pros and cons, but I do think the bigger picture is a workshop for us to discuss the dress code, because this is just one example, but there's other parts of the dress code that students are having conundrums, and principals and teachers have a lot of dissonance. So I'd like to explore a workshop for discussion on that, on a full-fledged type of involve what we have in the Student Code of Conduct, what we need to have. And I think that would be a preferred way as a board. That's just my recommendation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions? Member Combs?
I mean, I don't think we can wait for a workshop for something like that. I think we need to have it very clear. Kids are really curious about it. School's starting in a couple weeks. I think that's a very controversial item that's happening, and I'm getting a lot of emails about that. I think it's something that we kind of need to discuss, make a decision, and just move forward for this year. I think one of the issues is that I mean, honestly, me personally, like, I don't think I even had enough time to process what it meant and what was happening with the policy. And I think that's one of the issues that I had with the Student Code of Conduct and not having enough time on it. Like, some of the changes I thought were good. Some of the things we talked about, Riley coming in, but some of the changes, I didn't even expect those changes. So I haven't even had that much time to like process them and look at what that looks like. And just like the other day when we were talking about high school principals dealing with the cell phone, like, are high school principals really going to be sitting there dealing with, is that, you know, are those leggings, are they cloth, or what does that look like? I mean, what does that look like for an administrator at a middle school, at high school, with how that's going to impact them? So I think this could be a big problem that we're leaving to the schools, and I don't think it's fair. And I think as much as I want to leave tonight, I'd rather sort it out tonight and move forward.
Not be sorted out tonight.
Well, we can't sort it out tonight.
No, if this motion passes, it'll come to the next board meeting. So the only thing you're voting on tonight.
So, and then the next board meeting starts August 4th, right? It's right before school starts. I mean, that seems like a lot. That just doesn't seem like really fair to do that to our schools. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't seem like that's really fair or the right thing to do for one thing for our schools. I think we can't clarify that tonight.
The board voted to adopt the Student Code of Conduct. You have the right to amend it, but you can only vote on items that are on your agenda. This is not on the agenda. It's not fair to the public who might take a different view of that. You need to amend it at a notice public hearing. Yeah. So, yeah, it's just a matter. It was Florida law for one thing, but it's also just a matter of fundamental fairness, that it's an issue that people should have the right to discuss.
Mr. Porter, are you saying it's Florida law that they can't wear that?
No, it's Florida law that you need to require notice.
Okay, I didn't know what you were talking about. Okay, it's Florida.
Vote on it.
Notice it. That way people can come talk about it. Okay, I see that.
Member Rendon? Thank you. Member Combs. Member Rendon?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to clarify, because that's what I was thinking. Like, so we couldn't make a motion to vote on an amendment to the Student Code of Conduct tonight, because we'd have to notice it being done next time. We can't just make a motion on it because it wasn't advertised.
Correct.
So the motion that Member Vaughn has brought forth would allow us to vote on it the next board meeting.
Correct.
So she's made a motion to bring back the Student Code of Conduct with an amendment. Yes. Am I correct? And so we're going to vote on that.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yep, okay.
Thank you, Member Rendon. Superintendent Ayers?
Yeah, right. So I just want to, just for clarity purpose to the motion that Member Vaughn made, so in the Student Code of Conduct that was approved at the board meeting, I think July 14th, at the July 14th meeting, Dr. Grace, if you could read how it reads currently, because it's not that they can't wear leggings, it's the covering that has to go to mid-thigh. So just for clarity purposes, we move forward to next week. Also note that we have, and with law noticing it, we'd have to do that probably first thing in the morning, get this amendment as we meet next Tuesday, August the 4th. So we'll get that updated for Wednesday.
The law requires 7 days notice.
7 days. So we'd have to
2 weeks.
We actually meet next week. This one.
Sorry, I stand corrected next week.
Yeah, so we'll get it up. Thank you, Mr. Porter. So
agenda would just need to be modified tonight and be put out, and that just needs.
Thank you for that clarification. Dr. Grace, could you read, just for the board's sake, how it reads, and we would bring back something amended to that? How does it currently read in the current code of conduct that was approved on July 14th?
Thank you, Superintendent Ayers. Also, I just want to clarify that the changes to this language that was originated due to student voice. And we had a group of students from high school and middle school, and when it came up to the topic of student dress code, they brought up leggings and they brought up their concerns. So the changes did originate from student voice. I just wanted to, bring that to everyone's attention as well. As far as the exact language in our policy, it says spandex or leggings are not permitted unless worn as undergarments or covered by clothing that extends to at least mid-thigh. And some examples are an oversized sweatshirt or t-shirt that reaches mid-thigh when standing. Further says that spandex bodysuits are not permitted.
So that was that was approved in the code of conduct. That was approved. What I'm hearing is a motion to amend that to, I would assume we'd have to generate some language that tomorrow Dr. Graves could speak with the board around that language. It's basically leggings and then taking out the mid-thigh.
Yes.
You'd have to hear from the maker of the motion of what her intent is.
So my concern, bodysuits I'm not concerned with. My concern is having to either wear an oversized sweatshirt or sweater or a pair of shorts over the leggings. I think that is a new addition, and I would like to see that amended to what we were before.
Yeah, as it reads, the t-shirt.
Okay, she's made her motion clear.
Mm-hmm. Can't hear you.
Your motion, as I understand it, is to, because this is new language, to revert to the language that was in the student code of conduct prior to this change.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the motion to bring it back to the next meeting.
So vote when you see your lights up for the motion that's on the floor right now.
Nadia, you
Nadia,
didn't record yours? That's weird. It showed she voted.
Okay, try
We have
again.
to do it again. Thank you.
So the agenda needs to be modified tonight to just have on an agenda item amendment to the student code of conduct regarding dress code.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
And with that, I end my board comments.
And who else? What was the list? I can't remember. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Member Washington?
Yes, ma'am. First of all, on July the 21st, the AXO students had a competition. They participated with the 49th NAACP Afro Academic Cultural, Technological, and Scientific Olympics, AXO. We are especially proud to recognize our national award recipients. Benjamin Sterling, Milton High School, was the national silver medalist in the chemistry and biochemistry. And Isaiah Miller was from Winthrop Charter School. He won the national bronze medalist, Earth and Space Science. We had Amari Johnson from Armwood, AXO with the Trivia Games winner. And last we had Mika Gillette, Armwood High School, AXO, and Trivia Games. Congratulations to those students participating in AXO. Also, on the joint principals meeting, Pablo, you have it? We had a great time. As you can see, I made a note. I said this is one of the best joint principals meetings we ever had. It was great. Everybody was dressed up. Marie had a gold. It was neat. Dr. Whalen, Shay, all dressed. Hey, look, but Chris Farkas turned out the show. Oh yeah, because Chris changed jackets. He went from black to red. Oh, no, well, the superintendent was in the game too now, because he had on a great jacket too, a green shiny jacket. Oh, yeah. And I tell you, we had a great time there. And you know, it's all about celebrating when you win. We sometimes don't celebrate enough when we win, because we get beat up pretty bad. So when we win, we best celebrate, because you never know we'll be able to celebrate again. I'm telling you. And even sometimes when we celebrate, we get beat up. When we win, we get beat up. But you know, I think the most important part about it is everybody worked hard to get to this point. It wasn't a point we just got to. You worked hard, and Superintendent, you put up a chart up on the board where when the kids come to us, right, they can't read, they can't do nothing. They can't participate. They can't read. Do you realize how difficult it is to come from can't read, K3, all the way up in your senior year, get a high school diploma, 17,000 students, 300 in the summertime? That's amazing work Hillsborough County students, teachers, and the staff have done. It's amazing. And what makes me so happy is the mere fact that, and this is the first time ever, that we didn't have any DF schools in District 5. I mean, ever. Transformation. I mean, it was unbelievable. Not a D or F. And, you know, hard work, and the A district. The last A district had, 2014, somewhere like that, I believe, 2014. But we were A district, but we might have had a D or something, a couple of Ds or Fs or whatever in there, but we were A district because we had the points to be an A district. So I just want to, again, congratulate the teachers, the students, the parents, because parents had to be involved, the parents, the community, everybody had to be involved for us to be successful in Hillsborough County Public Schools. And I really think we will do better. You know, we can do better because we have the personnel, the people here that can do better in this district. We have a great district. And no matter what people say or do, criticize, you know, people are always going to criticize. No matter what. No matter what they say or do, we're going to continue working hard. And thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Member Washington. Member Combs?
Hey, just a couple things. Congratulations to all the summer graduates. It's always so it's just one of the best parts of being a school board member, being able to recognize those seniors. And also, thank you so much, Superintendent and Cabinet. That was like a great joint principals. I still keep laughing at some of the one-liners. I mean, the Little Mermaid, I just can't get past that one. But the jokes, the one-liners were so good. I look at Gary and Shay, and all the one-liners that were against you were just hilarious. So that was great. Also, Member Vaughn and I are having our new teacher brunch breakfast. That will be coming up on August 4th at 11 o'clock. We've been really trying to promote this early this year, so we really feel like we're going to have a lot of people. And then finally, Pablo, that slide. Pablo? No, that's just a joke. I just want to say, you know, I really wanted to have a slide that said thank you to Pablo, just as a reminder to mess with him, because, you know, I love my PowerPoints when you least expect it. So I just want to say, you know, Pablo, thank you so much for 6 years of everything that you've done and been here. It's been just such an honor for you to work with us. You've just been an amazing queuing all the time when I love my PowerPoints, and thank you so much. And you're going to be very missed by this district, and thank you for everything you've done.
Thank you, Member Combs. And for me, Superintendent Ayers, I know that we've talked about students that are not enrolled in our system. We have never talked in the sunshine about DCF removing about 1,000 students from our district and putting them under DCF umbrella and taking our, the FTE, yeah, and under them. They have students in the, where they're in the juvenile justice system, and now those students are under their umbrella, not under ours. And it's about 1,000 students that they have. We used to have them under us, and we had teachers in front of them. We had their curriculum for them, but now DCF is the one who has these students, and it's about 1,000. So when we're looking at the loss of student and enrollment, we have to count those students in that loss of enrollment as well. So a lot of times the state, at the state level, makes decisions that affect our students here and moves those students out from up under our purview. So I just want to say that in the sunshine, so that that our county here understands that because they're asking what's happening with the loss of student enrollment, and that's part of it. So I just wanted to say that and bring that to the attention. And the 4 charter schools that are closing down, how are we trying to get those students enrolled into, because school is starting soon, those schools are shutting down. How are we trying to get those students over to us?
Yeah, Mr. Murillo and his team have been working. So, Mr. Murillo, if you want to.
No, I appreciate, and it's going to be brought on the next board meeting. But yes, we have been communicating with the Office of Student Engagement and Choice with Matt Romano's office. Angela Weary-Crooks actually has been communicated with all 4 charter schools, how they communicated with the families. Now we have the reports where the kids are, their neighborhood school. We have the reports of every single student we're monitoring, and the charter office is already contacting parents as well. So we can provide by next Tuesday a complete update of how many students we still don't have enrolled in our system versus where they're enrolled. We're keeping data of everything. The last updated data was from last Thursday. I'm getting another one late this week, so we can provide the information August 4th.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you for that, because we're trying to get them back into Hillsborough County schools, because of course our public schools are the best. Yeah. And Advent Health on Sunday, I had Dr. Rosa Traversa from Advent Health speaking about the Bullard Foundation event coming up in a couple of weeks, and talking to the Hispanic community about the backpack giveaway, but even more so about the health piece of it, where they're going to provide even the families, even the adults, the physicals, and give them a little bit of information and community resources.
They actually get the community resources for the adults. They also get the dental screenings that'll be part of that too. Eyeglasses, laser eyeglasses for students, and also the medical, as well as the food that goes out to them, all that.
Yeah, and they talked about the EKGs, especially in the Hispanic community, diabetes, high blood pressure, and the heart issues run rampant. And so that was a lot of information that she provided to the Hispanic community. So we're really excited about that. And next, okay, Pablo, I can't believe I get a chance to say this. I had the amazing, just absolutely amazing honor to be with the alumni and families and former educators and staff of the Sun City, and this is how they put it, the Negro High School and Bethune School. The Sun City Negro High School served African American students from 1947 to 1961 during the period of legally mandated segregation. Following its closure, many students continued their education at Bethune School until its desegregation brought an end to the dual school system. And despite these challenges, the students, teachers, and families of the community of Sun City Negro School and Bethune School demonstrated extraordinary resilience, determination, and excellence. Actually, there was a school, they had a picture of the school where there was only the front of the school, the back of the school was totally open to the elements. And this is where the students went to school. The legacy of these schools lives on through the accomplishments and contributions of their alumni. And actually, one of their students ended up being the fire chief of Hillsborough County. So I am just absolutely honored that I would have the opportunity to go and read a proclamation and provide them with it. But, you know, just it shows, but we still have so much farther to go here. But thank you for allowing me to do that. And with that said, this meeting is over.